Also, pull up young Richard Dreyfuss.
Alenka is thirsty right now.
Yeah, it's getting
look up Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah, you
slip sliding off this chair over here.
Jesus.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. You can bleep that out if you'd like.
What's that movie? Is it ahead? I'll ask Alenka, she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is the podcast where we get people drunk on the show and they tell us about a movie that I've never seen before. Today, we've got Sam and Cam from the Chill Spot podcast. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I think you forgot someone.
Oh, yeah. I also, to my right, there is one person that whose name shall not be spoken of. He's a co-star, I guess. Sorry, who are you?
I'm Will.
That's right. And I'm Alenka. Guys.
You know, it's funny, if I could interject just before we begin, we actually have a running joke in our podcast where a buddy of mine doesn't like that we say his name, so we refer to him as Redacted.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Will is the honorary redacted,
Honorary redacted.
for today.
I accept that position.
But thank you so much for having us. This
Yeah.
is dope.
This is going to be the nicest thing we've ever recorded because
just
our sound quality is nowhere near as nice as
No.
Oh, shucks, you guys. Let's stop it. Stop it.
Oh, man.
Today's an extra special episode because not only have I not seen this movie, but guess who else hasn't seen the movie?
Right here, buddy.
Me and Will.
My jaw dropped. Like, I just figured that, like, Will, like, I don't know, like, there's always, like, one bitch on every podcast, and I just figured that, like...
I did not think Will was the bitch.
I am that bitch.
Yeah.
I
was
just
like...
took a DNA test. Turns out I haven't seen this movie.
haven't seen it.
I am not that bitch. So, I love Jaws. I did not grow up on Jaws by any means. I definitely came into it, like, in my adulthood.
Because you hate horror movies.
Yeah, I hate them so much. But this
yeah.
is classified as, like, the horror movie to end all horror movies. So, like, by all intents and purposes, like, this shouldn't make sense that I love this movie.
They made the beach scary. Like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah,
Like, come
yeah,
on.
exactly. Every time I jump into a lake now, I'm like, oh, man.
Was there a shark in this freshwater
Yeah, you
lake?
think about that poster, that Jaws poster, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Why the girl
But
from Jaws?
no, it's a classic. I can't wait to share it with you.
Yeah, so when was the first time that you, Sam, watched it? And then Cam, when was the first time you watched it?
My first exposure to Jaws was like any teenage girl. It was at a sleepover.
Nice.
So like I came
Sure.
downstairs.
I
one
had
of
that
those movies.
experience,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and my friend had like a dope big screen TV. You know, the kind of like the vacuum tubing in the back. You know how big screen TVs used to look?
Oh,
with like exactly. So like it was that
No.
and like surround
I haven't
sound.
seen that either.
And I like came downstairs for all the fans out there. Like I came downstairs at the moment where like the fisherman's head like pops out. Spoiler alert.
We'll get there in a minute, yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I can't do this. And then, like, I went back and I was like, actually, I kind of want to see this movie. And I, like, watched it on my own time. And I was like, this is actually so good. And it's not that scary. And, like, it also helps that it was released in 1975. So, like...
It's a little old, yeah.
Yeah, the effects
A
are,
little rough
like,
on the edges.
they're 1975. So,
I mean, they hold up remarkably well, must admit.
sometimes.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the first time I saw Jaws was actually in high school with my ex-girlfriend. She had never seen it.
Fucking bitch. No, she's nice.
She's very nice.
Lady. She's a nice lady.
She had never seen it. I had never seen it, so we decided to watch it one night, just one weekend. And again, we'll get there, but there's a certain scene with that involves a head in Jaws, which is like the spiciest jump scare
Yeah.
in any movie I've ever seen. Like the
spiciest.
like the most egregious jump scare ever.
Yeah.
And it got me super, super hard.
Yeah.
And like
It still gets you. Like we rewatched the movie
Got
to
me
prepare
real
for
hard.
this podcast, and like it got to the
We
thing
both
about
knew
that
it was
jump scare
coming,
is that
too.
it's really drawn out. If you've seen it and you know what's coming, you're like, oh man, this is the part. This is the part. This is the part.
All right, well,
Oh my God.
you have to jump scare us when that part comes up.
Okay.
yeah,
Do you want to talk about the drink that you made?
Yes. So today, as per tradition, I have made a drink. Well, Alenka made the drink. I conceived the drink. Alenka makes the drinks.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Most of the
Yeah.
time. Most of the time.
I mean, you did technically make
Technically,
this
I
one.
made this drink. I'm not. I'm glad that you mentioned that you're the one that conceived it because we had to improve it.
But your
So-
edition was my
It
favorite,
was
actually.
So-
not good.
So
Yeah.
the drink, I call it the Bigger Boat. I have not seen this movie, but I know that line.
I don't. I do not. Never heard that in my life.
Is that a line in this movie? Actually, I have no idea.
No, that's Titanic.
So
Still, I could everything you're saying. I'm taking as
They
fact. I
had the
don't know.
biggest boat in that movie, and it still sank.
I don't know.
Sorry, Will. Please continue. Jackie, your podcast.
So I went to the dollar store. I picked up a gravy boat that looks like a rowboat.
Oh, you didn't just have this?
No, I picked it
Oh
up
my
at the dollar store.
It feels so special.
Yeah, and it includes lime soda water
Mm.
because that's the kind of soda water I picked up.
Better
as,
than normal soda water.
as well as blue carousel, a
'Cause the
whole
ocean.
a whole little Mickey of rum,
Mm-hmm.
ice,
Ice.
and then drops of grenadine to make it look like blood in the water.
Mhm.
And then finally, Alenka has added a nice duct tape fin coming
Yeah.
out, so it looks like Jaws. If
Yep.
you're peep our Instagram at Haven't Seen a Podcast to check out the picture of this drink going on
Mm-hmm.
in our social meds.
It's actually no. It looks really cool. When they dropped in the grenadine, it was like actual like blood, like dripping
No,
in
it
the
looked really,
water.
really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I've since mixed it around, and it's kind of like it's a bit more purple now, but it is
Yeah.
far tastier than it was.
Yeah,
Now, what
thank God
did
for
this
the sour
taste
flavor.
like in the beginning?
Oh, nail polish remover.
Yeah, like
no, it
ru-
tasted bad. It was bad.
rubbing
Yeah.
alcohol.
Apparently,
Yeah.
everybody else got good tasting drinks, and this is
Although-
the first not so good tasting.
My
one.
throat is the clearest it's been in months.
It's
Actually, I have
perfect
some like 3-week-old nail polish remover that needs to be taken off if we want to save
Could
some
just-
for later.
yeah,
Put your
we could
fingers
just-
in it.
we
Yeah.
could just have like a pedicure night after we're done.
Bring it down to the bone.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are finishing it, so there won't be any.
Oh,
Oh my god.
I make no
But
promises.
we did add some red sourpuss left over from our Matrix episode
Yep. It
to
helped.
make it taste a bit more
Not like trash.
pleasing.
90% of it was rum, so you know.
No, it
was
helped. It
bound
helped
to
a lot.
be-
It does taste a lot
I,
better. It's
I
actually pretty great.
almost got that like 40 proof Jamaican rum.
Oh my god.
But
That's
that
not
was too
necessary.
expensive for
Splurged.
our shoestring budget of $0.
This is why the fin is made of duct tape.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All about innovation.
Well,
Shall we jump in?
Yes,
Into
please.
Jaws.
Okay. So, Jaws, 1975.
Mm.
We open Amity Beach.
Where's that?
It's fictional. It's not real.
Shut up.
It's not a real
They
place.
didn't
Actually,
use
well-
real Earth places.
It actually no, it's in New England.
Is it actually?
Amity is a place in New England.
That's what it
Oh, it's
says.
an actual town?
That's what it says in the Wikipedia
Well,
article.
so it,
Fuck me
it's
sideways.
not like a Shermer, Illinois, like
Yeah, really.
John Hughes movies.
No.
Well, Amity might not be a real place, but apparently
shot it
takes
in
place
New England.
In New England.
Yes.
And the fictional town of Amity is a town in
Yeah.
New
Which is
England.
Rhode Island.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is
We're
from
Family Guy. Exactly.
It always comes
Just
back,
down,
baby.
yeah, a short
Football.
highway trip from Quahog.
Like Jaws, Family Guy is one of the most culturally relevant pieces of television ever to exist.
Yeah.
At least to me it is.
Yeah,
I would
totally.
say.
But we open on a nice summer evening.
Mhm.
Amity is a beach town. That's
Yeah.
what it's known for. Is it's great beaches and it's got a great 4th of July party that goes on, which is relevant if you're American. Yeah, so a bunch of teenagers are having a party one night,
Mhm.
big bonfire,
Jamming out.
and
listening to Skrillex.
somebody, a boy eyes a girl across the way, and they make eye contact. And they start flirting. They start the whole thing. And then like she's like, let's go skinny dipping.
Go first.
Is it, so it's like 70s flirting? Like what's
Yes.
flirting in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
70s?
it's more like-
Flirting in the 70s is taking a sip from your beer and then like taking a drag from the cigarette that you're using to also hold your beer. And then like, I'm not lying. This is
I
literally
know.
how he does it. in the-
seriously, it's like
in the
this
movie.
weird like
yeah, it's this weird like contraption he's got going on. And then like, I don't know, you just eye fuck the person across
Mhm.
the room, the one girl who's like sitting by herself, and then like you just kind of like wiggle your eyebrows a little bit,
Ooh.
and then you're like, yeah, and let's go.
Okay.
And so girl takes off her clothes,
Yeah.
jumps into the water, starts swimming around. She's
She's like
completely naked.
she's like, my name is Chrissy. It's
Yeah.
it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter.
It matters a little bit.
Right before she dies. By the way, my name's Chrissy.
From the beach, like,
No, they're like running down the beach, and he's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Chrissy," in like a typical like imagine like Pamela Anderson 1970s like,
Mm.
"My name's Chrissy."
they could have honestly played like
Yeah. So they run down the beach. Homeboy is way too drunk to get in the water, falls asleep on the beach, and Chrissy is like swimming, just frolicking.
I'm
You see the shark's eye view.
Ooh.
Chrissy's naked body
Boner,
from like down below.
Durna,
She looks like a seal. She's
Durna,
just a seal.
Cam, that's a drink.
Frolicking in the water.
Oh fuck.
Oh, yeah.
He gets closer and he gets closer and he gets closer. And then Chrissy just sort of like gets pulled under the water a little bit. And then she just gets like dragged across the water. She's like, oh my God.
Oh my God, Jeff, stop it.
It hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. And then she gets pulled under the water with a glug. She's gone.
Is there blood?
No.
Yeah.
No? There's no
No.
like Tarantino
Nope.
blood.
Not
Nope.
this time.
Oh,
Not
okay.
this time. Not this time. So then we cut. Chief Brody wakes up next to his wife. And they're like all cute together. Actually, that's the one thing we noted about this movie on our rewatch is that like for the 70s, like the chief of police and his wife have a really, really nice
No, no.
relationship.
Aw.
And he's
It's
like
very
really,
refreshing,
he's really
actually.
involved with his kids. It's really, really sweet.
It's
They're,
nice that he
like,
didn't
an
wake up and he was
all-American-
like, "Where's my whiskey?
Exactly, exactly.
Give me my fourth cigarette."
So they wake up, they exchange niceties, blah, blah, blah. He gets a call, he picks up, it's the wrong line. He picks up the sheriff's line, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll be right down there.
Yeah, see ya.
And a girl is missing.
Could it be Chrissy?
It might be Chris.
The man that was with Chrissy the last night says that he, like, you know, he woke up on the beach and Chrissy was not there. So they scour down the beach looking for Chrissy. And the deputy sheriff, like, screams his whistle, and they go and they run, and all they find are two hands
Ooh,
with a bunch of
shit.
hermit crabs
Oh yeah.
crawling all over there.
Way too far from the coastline, mind you. Like, this. How did this get here?
Yeah. Like, I don't think Tide works like this, but sure, her remains
like
washed up
Jaws-
on the shore.
Jaws poked out of the sea and was like, and just like spat it into the beach.
Like, just like a walnut casing, just like spattered like fingernails up onto the shore.
Yeah, like you think Jaws hates hands? Like he gets the hands. Ew,
That's
gross.
his thing. He
You
doesn't
never
like
eat the
Yeah.
hands.
Humans to Jaws are like lobster, where like 90% of the shell is like nothing, and
Yeah.
they're just like 10% meat.
Crack into the hands.
Yeah.
Slurped out.
Yeah,
Meat's
yeah, yeah.
inside. The sweet, juicy meat.
Yeah. So they're like, oh my God. And then like dramatically, there's like a really cool shot of like Chief Brody like typing on his typewriter, and you can just see the typewriter going, and it's like plausible cause of death. And he types in SHARK space ATTACK shark attack.
All right.
Bam.
And is that like, does then Jaws come up? Or no?
See, unfortunately not, but I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, if this movie was made today,
It'd be
Yeah.
like it'd be like the
Jaws.
establishing shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Jaws.
I guess like technically the opening of this movie is technically like it's someone with a camera underwater swimming, but it's supposed to be like the shark's eye view, and it's just
Mhm.
like shots of like some seaweed and like
That's right.
Also, the
The
shark got a
reef.
GoPro. That's,
yeah,
Exactly,
basically,
yeah.
and then you just see like Jaws, and then it like cuts to the bonfire scene.
Mhm.
But there's a problem,
Yeah.
and Chief Brody knows that there's a shark by the beaches,
Mhm.
so he wants to
they
shut
just
down.
immediately went
Yeah, I
to
know.
shark.
I was thinking like, right
Yeah.
away, that's because
Yeah.
my first instinct is like, oh, that kid's gonna get like he's gonna be in shit. He's gonna be under investigation.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
the last one that saw her, but no, not at
Yeah,
all.
not murder,
This
shark
is the
attack.
70s. It's
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
a
I mean,
shark
if
attack.
this
I
were
actually never thought
nowadays,
about it
if
that
this
way.
were nowadays, I feel like it'd be like serial killer would cut off this motherfucker's hands,
Yeah.
threw
Yeah.
him into the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feed him to the hermit crabs.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, don't get rid of the hands. Don't worry. Hermit crabs love hands.
Yeah. Actually, to fast forward a little bit, the mayor of the city tries to write it off as like a boating accident.
Fucking idiot.
So he's like, oh, she was swimming and like someone was out with a boat and she got caught in the propellers. And they're like, it happens all the time. And I was like, what?
I mean, she got fucking demolished.
There was nothing but her hands.
She was thoroughly blended.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why I stick to rowboats.
I honestly
go
feel
out.
the
Pedal
same way.
boats.
Totally.
Yeah,
Oh,
paddle
yeah.
boats,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
paddle
yeah,
boats.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mayor Larry Vaughn is
Yeah.
like the biggest moron in
Yeah,
this whole movie.
but like
yeah.
Chief Brody tries to like put beach closed signs up on the beach, and the mayor is like, "We're like 2 days out from the 4th of July. This is our bread and butter. Like
Ooh.
our entire it's because it's a beach town. He's like, our entire economy relies on like the money that we make on the
Yeah.
4th of July. Like it's insane.
We're
Like they
closed
have
in the
these-
winter, Chief.
This place is like Party City on Halloween, except it's like Amity and 4th of July.
Except it's
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
town and people live here.
Yeah, exactly. Like a whole people make their bread and butter off of like just the 4th of July alone. So he's like, you can't put up closed beaches signs. You can't. Like the water's but he's like, but mayor, shark attack. It was a shark. It's still out there.
Mm.
And he's like, can you prove it? And he's like, damn it.
They're like, shit.
Shit, I can't.
But the mayor pays off the coroner. The coroner initially was like, yeah, it might be a shark attack, you know? But then later on, he's like, I just don't think it was a shark attack. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
like you can see him like stuffing dollars.
They have a
into his
meeting on a
back pocket.
ferry of all places.
I mean,
it's really funny.
If
That's-
our
yeah,
elected
actually.
politicians were just covering up shark attacks, I think I'd be
Doing pretty
happy.
good.
That would be
Mhm.
one of
Okay.
the
Yeah.
If that were happening
In today's
now,
politics,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
The-
I'd be like, that's it?
Honest to God.
Getting
Alright.
by a shark?
It's like if all you do is cover up shark attacks and cheat on your wife, like that's not even that bad. Like, I'd vote for you,
not
right?
bad.
Like, come on. There's
That's
been
the
worse.
campaign slogan.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, this is insane. Like, I can't do this. So he calls in an oceanographer played by
Ooh.
Richard Dreyfuss. Richard
Yes.
Dreyfuss comes in from like, I don't know, goddamn LA or like Bermuda or whatever the fuck.
Elsewhere.
Can I just say as a side
me
note,
see if I can find
you
his
should
character's
watch this movie for young Richard Dreyfuss alone.
Yeah, he's cutie.
So hot. So hot. And I looked up old Richard Dreyfuss, like what he looks like right now. And like he's not hot, but he looks like the kind of grandpa you would put in a home and like visit often enough that he doesn't feel alone anymore. You know, like he's
Yeah.
just gone from like snack to like cute grandpa. So you
Richard
should-
Dreyfuss plays Matt Hooper.
Yeah, Matt Hooper, who's an
What
oceanographer, who
He's
has a
the
specialty in
oceanographer.
sharks.
So he's not dead. He's 671 and he's
Yeah.
been married 3
I don't
times.
think anyone said he was dead. But thank you for clarifying.
He's an old guy. I thought maybe he might be dead.
It's
Oh,
only the 70s.
Anyways, to bring it back,
anyway,
they
Matt
pull in
Hooper shows up.
Matt Hooper,
Mr.
aka
Hooper.
Richard Dreyfuss,
Hooper, PhD.
looking like a snack.
Mm.
And
Can I give him a few kisses?
he's like, I'll help you out, but like I gotta be on a boat in like a week. I gotta be on a different boat looking at different
Listen,
sharks in like a week.
I'm needed on a boat like at least 72
I can only
hours from
stay
now.
for a couple of days.
I've got a 5:30 on a boat.
And they bring him in and he looks at the remains of Chrissy. And he's like, this was no boating accident. This was a shark.
I mean, yeah, her fucking legs are missing. Like, how the hell? Like,
Yeah, he comes in, he makes it like literally. I looked this up. He comes in with a recorder and he's like, okay, so it looks like it could be like an oceanic, like Dinosaurus Rex T badoop badoop, and like makes up a bunch of like oceanographer.
I mean, they're
like,
probably real terms. I don't
no, they're not.
think.
No, they're not. I looked it up. They're
Oh,
not.
are
He
they
made
actually
them
not?
up. He literally
Shut
made
up.
them up. They're not real
So
terms.
Richard Dreyfuss was just like, I'm like, I'm
Richard
an
Dreyfuss
actor, I know
pretending
this
to be an
stuff.
I fucking do
oceanographer
this.
the whole time.
The whole time.
He was
Spiel-
pretending the whole time.
Spielberg shows up on set and he's like, "We actually didn't write this scene. we need you to just go, Rich. All right."
But
Do me a favor."
nonetheless, the coroner is like, see this girl? She died of a boat attack. And he was like, no, she didn't. This was a shark. You have a shark. You have a great white shark problem. This wasn't a
Like-
mako. This wasn't a tiger. This wasn't a hammerhead. This was a great white. And like, yeah, and like drops that bomb. And they're like, oh, shit. So
Great.
Chief Brody, who doesn't know anything about sharks, immediately goes home. Should I mention Chief Brody? Afraid of the water. Lives on
Shut
a
up.
Wow.
lives in a beach town, hates the water,
Well,
does
he's-
not
he-
go
He's
swimming.
not a lifeguard. He's not like a water cop.
But like, you moved your family to an island town, and you don't like the water.
Doesn't
like,
make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right?
A
It is a
town that
little
makes
weird.
Go
it's
to a mountain town then.
exactly doesn't
Now,
like the
who-
water.
Who plays Chief Brody?
I forget his name. He's
Like,
hot
I
too,
feel like
for what
Richard
it's worth.
Dreyfuss is like the only like big like. Is there any?
That's
names
what I
No.
was
like that?
wondering
So
too,
the actor
actually.
who plays Quint, who I haven't brought up yet, was like a legendary like Shakespearean theater like actor dude.
So these are all
Um,
people that aren't famous
Chief-
except for
Chief Brody is played by a man named Roy Schneider,
a man.
Roy
Exactly.
Scheider, not Schneider.
who is dead.
Oh,
He
okay.
died. He
He's
died in
kinda hot
2000.
too. Look
From
at,
a shark
look at,
attack.
He's
Right?
mauled to
Yeah.
death
He's like
by
a
a
silver
shark.
fox.
Kind of looks like a scary grandpa. Like
Ooh.
if Richard Dreyfuss, right? Like
Yeah.
he's
Well,
got a
sign me
black
up for
turtleneck.
scary grandpa.
Like he was smoking a cigarette the day you were born.
Yeah.
Like
he
in the
looks like the
hospital.
understudy for Count Dooku.
He does
Yeah.
kind of look like that.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
No, I
You've
don't.
seen Star Wars.
Count Dooku.
Okay.
He's like the.
I don't know
Dooku.
names.
Okay.
He's like
Are you
these.
sure that's not made up? I'm thinking you're saying Goku, and I'm
No, not Count Goku.
Count Goku. Dragon Ball Z.
But yeah.
Amazing.
So it's decided
Mhm.
there's a shark attack. The mayor.
because I'm still stuck on like they're just immediately sharks.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like I feel like I don't
okay,
know.
honestly, okay, yeah.
If I found hands in like Lake Ontario, I,
Yes,
You would
but
go
that's
to
a
murder.
lake.
I wouldn't
That's
be
a
like
lake, Will.
I wouldn't
They're
be-
There are sharks in
fucking
lakes. though.
catfish.
yeah. No. Honestly.
What?
Catfish
Also,
ate these people.
If
Oh,
you
I'm so
found-
sorry.
There's sharks in lakes.
I'm sorry to be the one to tell you there are sharks.
Yeah,
in
there's
there are
freshwater
sharks.
sharks. Absolutely.
Freshwater
Yeah,
sharks.
that's the thing.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't go swimming, Alenka. Don't
Yeah.
go swimming.
No.
You are fine. No, you
Water
are
is
fine
scary. Don't do it.
99% of the time from freshwater sharks. Like most cottage countries do not have sharks in the lakes. Like
Alenka, you will be the
Most.
1%.
I know I will. I've got fucking snake eggs laid inside my
Yeah.
We've upgraded from spiders.
But
Now we're
yeah,
just
but
snakes.
yeah, they go straight to sharks, but then they bring in Richard Dreyfuss, who confirms that there's no fucking way.
But before that,
There's no fucking way.
they're like, we'll give 10 grand to anyone who finds
Yes.
and kills this shark.
Ooh.
Okay.
They're
No,
like,
no, that's later.
I thought that happens before, like with the
No, buddy. No.
Explain away then.
So so they decide that it's a shark attack, and they're like, Mayor, we have to close the beaches. There's a shark, and he's like, do you understand that we are 1 day away from 4th of July, the day that we make all of our money?
Well,
no, I'm not going to close the fucking
It
beaches.
is July 3rd.
I'm going to force you to say that it was a boating accident. And they're like, well, fucking hands are tied, whatever. So next day, go to the beach. Everything's actually, it's not 4th of July yet, but like it's like a day away from
We're
4th of
getting there.
July.
We're getting
Whole
there.
town is at the beach. Little Alex, I forget his last name, goes out into the water on his little floaty thing.
Oh yes, yes.
No.
And then
Yes.
we see, and then someone else is also out there with a dog too. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
For all the dog lovers out there, this is not a dog friendly This is not
I
a dog friendly movie. This podcast is dog friendly. The movie is not dog friendly. You don't see the dog die, but the dog just disappears.
Yeah.
He's never seen again.
I would also like to point out that I knew the dog died, and
I
you.
knew the dog would die.
She's already mocking me because I was like, the dog dies. She's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't die. It never dies.
We're a couple. In case for those who haven't listened to the Chill Spot podcast, Cam and I are dating.
No,
and
I just like to mock Sam mercilessly.
We always love a good couple dynamic on the podcast, and I will
Oh, yeah.
continue to bring it on every time.
But yeah, so
and you don't see the child die.
yes, you do.
the child gets
No,
murdered.
no.
Yes, you do.
Wait,
So
fully?
you don't see
No,
the dog die, but you straight
I
up
thought-
You see the
okay,
child get dragged
The
under
dog
the water.
dies.
yeah.
I've seen. No, the
What
child gets
fucking
fucked
movie
up.
was
no,
it?
no, but you can't see. No, okay.
No,
You
it's-
can't see the
dragged-
shark, but you see the child
No,
get dragged
No,
under
you-
the water.
you
You
do
don't
see the
him
shark.
die. Right.
It's the
What
scene
other
with the
movie
with
was
the
it where
shark
the
like
kid
roll-
got run?
No.
What was
Give
that?
that a minute.
The kid got run over.
What the fuck was that?
Oh, Gladiator. Yeah.
Yeah.
A kid gets run over in
Yeah, he
Gladiator.
fucking gets body checked by the horse.
Yeah.
Damn.
You've seen
I've
that.
never seen
that.
No one
Gladiator.
gives
Gotta
a
go
fuck
see
about
it.
kids.
No, but dogs.
Dogs are.
Dogs,
no,
though.
I was saying
That's
like,
true.
This is the thing about Jaws, and this is the miracle thing about Jaws. And Steven Spielberg has famously said that if he made Jaws any later, it wouldn't work because you don't see the monster until like literally
Like,
like the
minute,
last 45 minutes
yeah,
of the
like
movie.
minute, like,
you don't
45.
fully see it until the last 45 minutes of the movie. So you do not see the shark attack the child, but the child gets dragged underwater and there's blood, like all like the water turns red. And he's like underwater and there's like bubbles everywhere and he's struggling and like so you effectively like see the child die, but you don't see the thing that's killing the child kill the child, but it's
Right.
like there's blood, he's underwater, he's screaming,
This is the
his
kid
like
on the
flotation
raft, right?
device is his
Yes.
flotation device is like punctured.
No, there's like like blood. Like,
he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I know that's great. Yeah, that kid gets fucked up.
He did.
that's hilarious.
You said the same shit about Gladiator. The same shit about Gladiator. Oh my god, Will, what is wrong with you?
I'm trying. Okay.
He literally
Oh my
said,
God.
"This is the funniest part of the movie. The kid gets wailed on in a fucking horse, and then this kid dies in
I'm
Jaws."
trying to establish on this podcast that I like when kids die.
Oh my god.
That's just my thing.
I thought you were about to say like I
So
love kids.
It's your favorite movie.
Kids are great.
Yeah, it's now my favorite movie
Yeah.
because
oh
of
my
that.
god.
So Alex is dead.
If you don't get my sarcasm, I'm joking.
They didn't close the beaches and a child died.
Well, but hang on. There was actually one detail before that happens.
Yeah.
They do catch a shark.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Is that before?
What kind of
According to
shark?
this,
Okay, so I guess they do put out a hunt for No, this is after. No, this is after. Okay.
man,
so
I'm.
shut up.
You go right ahead.
The movie is fresh in my mind.
I
So
mean, you're wrong.
Alex kid No, I'm not wrong. I'm not fucking wrong. And I will tell you why. So
Please continue.
Alex dies and
Alex is dead. Who cares?
his mother puts out
Will doesn't.
an ad and says, "I will give you $3,000 if you
Ooh.
find and kill the shark that killed my son."
I don't know if it's worth it.
So all the fishermen in the town.
I mean, fair.
in 1975, in 1975,
that's
$3,000 is
$3,000
like,
in 70s money.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, what
Okay,
is
fine.
that's like $6,000?
I don't know.
Is it
I don't
enough
know.
to
that much.
almost
I mean, I
die?
feel like okay.
Could you
I feel
not
like,
use $3,000
No, but
right now?
I feel like
I could use $3,000
I feel like
right
we
now.
always go like $3,000 in a 1970 movie is like $1 million.
It's not. It's not. It's like
So
a couple $100,000, but like, or maybe like double
I
digits.
doubt
It's
it's
like
even that.
$75,000,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
okay.
but like, it's money.
It is. It's money.
And these fishermen are like, "Fuck yeah, dude, we'll go find your fucking shark." So
We'll fucking find it for you.
they
dude.
go out and they find like a mako shark. It's not a great white. It's like a little baby shark.
Actually, according to the Wikipedia article,
According to Wikipedia,
it's a
Turn that-
tiger shark.
Turn that
Okay.
shit off.
Okay.
Turn it off.
I'll get it out of here.
so they find like a tiger shark. Fun fact, behind the scenes fact. So for this scene, Steven Spielberg wanted a real shark. So I forget where. Yeah, they were filming in New England,
Mhm.
and they went to these fishermen down in Florida, and they were like, "Can you find us? We need a dead shark for this scene in this movie." And they were like,
I got a whole back.
"Fuck yeah,
whole bunch
buddy!"
of the factory.
So they went out and they killed a legitimate. What did you say? Tiger shark?
It's a tiger shark. No.
They killed a legitimate tiger shark.
Long before the law.
But there was no airline. There was no airline that would be like, yeah, you can bring a real fucking shark onto our cargo plane. So the shark sat in like storage for like a weekend
Like on
No.
salt.
before they could find somebody to
Yeah.
fly out their shark to New England
Just
for
like
them.
plopped on the
So
ground.
by the time it got to set, it was like gummy and
Oh
like,
yeah, and like rotted.
Like,
And you can see
Right.
it definitely is a real
When
shark.
they're
Oh,
like,
they still used it.
Yes, they still
Because
used
you can see
it.
like because like they have it hooked up on like
Yeah.
like you know when you ever seen like sharks like pictures of sharks where they hang it
Mhm.
like from
Yeah.
the tail like
Yeah,
top
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So they had it like hooked in through its nose and it like
It's,
bent
pulled
like
up.
this. And like its tail is hooked up here, and the other hook is in its nose, and you can see like the folds of its skin. Like it's very clearly a real shark. Like,
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah. But it's been like just decaying,
Disintegrating.
disintegrating in like a freezer for like a week.
put it
so
on the cooler. It'll be fine.
anyways, back to the movie, the fishermen like kill a shark in quotation marks, and they're like, we found the shark, and the mayor's like, thank fucking God, we can open the fucking beaches just in time for 4th of July. Oh my God.
Mm.
And the oceanographer played by Richard Dreyfuss is like, Hooper, I should say.
Mr. Hooper.
Mr. Hooper is like, listen, I've seen the victim of this shark and I've measured the radius of like the jaw. This is not your shark. I mean, like, it's a bad thing that this shark was in your waters and I'm glad that it's out, but this is not your shark. The shark that actually killed Chrissy whatever, like,
Yeah, Chrissy, what's her name?
it's got a bigger jaw. You're looking for an even bigger shark.
So first they're covering up shark attacks.
Yeah.
Now they're just
Yeah.
straight out framing other sharks.
Honest to God.
Jesus.
What kind of politics is this? Like,
Yeah.
The shark died.
I also,
Yeah.
I gotta say, the whole time I'm watching this movie, and the mayor is continually going to the police chief, being like, "Shut up, fuck you, you're an
Yeah.
idiot. Like, we're opening up the beach, Chief Brody, you're a moron, get out of my face." And it's like, does the chief police have no power in this situation? Like, could they
Yeah.
not be like, "Hey, like,
Yeah.
people are going to die"?
It's a small community, so like the deputy, basically the person who's above the like chief of police is like the mayor. Like that's
Right.
usually in like a
Right.
giant city.
But
there's
it-
like a couple other people in the middle, but it's
He's,
literally
I
I feel
like,
like that's
chief
a
of police and
problem
then
right
mayor.
there.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one man can have all that power.
Mayor, you curled someone. I need to arrest you. No, I'm not gonna let you.
I can't-
Yeah.
We have concluded that Chief Brody and Professor Hooper, have decided that it is a great white that is haunting Amity.
They came to that conclusion, yeah.
Yeah, and eating the townsfolk
Are we
one
talking
by
about
one.
the Amityville house?
Aubergine?
That movie would be so different if the ghost was a great white shark.
So it's a great white. We're not fucking around anymore. This
Mm.
isn't a mako. This isn't a tiger. This isn't a hammerhead. This is a great white that's haunting Amity and is eating the townsfolk one by one. And even a child has been
Yeah.
swallowed
Thanks to the mayor's negligence.
thanks to the mayor's negligence to close the beaches. So
Not gonna win that election.
I mean, at least it wasn't like a full adult.
You're right.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
actually,
Sure. Okay.
you just wait there.
Olenka, you just love children, don't you?
wow, what a fucking loser.
I do have a baby as my phone background. Ooh.
Like, would you say that you're into children?
Ooh, let's not go there.
So, Jaws.
This is where it gets a little foggy. I'm a little drunk and it's the middle of the movie, so like, forgive me.
That's fine. Those are
forgive
where
me,
the
Jaws
details
fanatic.
get less, and we don't care. It's
Forgive me, Jaws fanatics. I promise I'm a true fan. I'm drunk. Off of Bigger Boat, the drink made by Will.
Which turned out to be very tasty, actually.
You know, I'm at the point now in my drunkenness where it doesn't really matter what anything tastes
Right,
like. It's
right.
just alcohol, and I need more of it.
So are we at July 4th yet?
So yeah. So fast forward a little bit.
Well, hang on. No.
So
Keep going.
Hooper comes to the house. This is actually a really funny scene where Hooper comes to the house and he's like, listen, I'm still going on that boat in like the Bahamas or whatever the fuck. Like I'm leaving. And after I leave, you're the only sensible person that's left in this town who understands that a great white shark is fucking eating this city alive. You better get it together. You gotta be my rep, representative in this struggle. And
That was
sick sentence, dude. Are you kidding me?
you gotta be my rep. Big Pod representative.
Roy Schneider's like,
he shows up to Hooper's house, or no, sorry, he shows up to Chief Brody's house after dinner. They've finished eating dinner, and he has this really cute scene with his son where his son is like copying everything that his dad does, just to like solidify the fact that like
That is
Chief
a really
Brody
cute
is a
scene.
family man.
Yeah.
He's a family man, and he cares about his family, and he sees his family in the families of Amity, and he's upset and he doesn't know what to do because like he wants everybody to be safe, but he's under pressure from the mayor, like political pressure from the mayor. Stop mocking me, you fucking person.
Yeah, but it's like, pick your words there, right? But it's like, she would say something far more nasty if we
He's
weren't
like
on mic.
stuck. He's stuck. He's like, I don't know what to do. And then Hooper shows up with 2 bottles of wine, one red and one white. He's like, I didn't know if you were a white family or a red family.
Well, I mean,
And-
he probably figured out that they're a white family.
And he's like, I'll take the red. And Chief Brody proceeds to pour himself he doesn't have like a wine glass on the table. He only has a tumbler, and he pours himself like a full tumbler of
Yeah,
wine.
no, it's like a milk glass.
Yeah, it's like a milk glass of
just
wine.
bourbon.
And he's like, I fucking need this. I need this so bad right
People
now. I
need
need
my
this so
sharks
bad
to
right
get a
now.
fucking drink.
I need a fucking drink right now. And he's like, he tells him, he's like, you're the only sane person in this town. Like, I need you to be a representative. Shit, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about the introduction of Quint and this whole fucking thing.
Ooh, Quinn.
So the shark eats the kid, and they have a town meeting because they're like, holy shit, the shark ate a
And
kid.
then Quint like bursts from the ether.
kind of.
From the ground.
So Quint in a now famous scene, they have a press conference in the town hall,
And no one can
And-
decide what to do.
and no one can decide what to do. The mayor is like, "Oh, we're only gonna close the beaches for a day," and like Chief Brody is like, "We gotta just close the beaches. Sorry, like 4th of July is done."
Like,
And the
kids
mayor
are
is like,
dying.
Yeah.
There's been at least one kid death. So,
yeah,
I mean,
and the mayor is like, "No,
one too
only for
many.
a day, only for a day." And like the press is up in a hoopla, and through all of the noise, Quint the fisherman, played by a famous actor.
whose name so something funny about a small side note about the 3 main characters in this movie, all actors that start with the letter R.
Yes.
Oh, so this guy's name is Ralph?
Robert?
Richard.
Is it a young Ray
Dick.
Fiennes?
No,
No.
I
I
wish.
wish it was a young
I
Ray
wish it was a
Fiennes, I'm
young
not gonna
Voldemort.
lie.
Are you fucking kidding me? Tom Riddle is in Jaws. Fuck me in the
Yeah,
ass.
I'll find out who it is, but keep going.
So, Quint the fisherman cuts through, and he like drags his nails down on a chalkboard to
And-
make like a lot of noise.
Well, that is a famous scene because
Yes.
it is definitely in a lot of other things.
Yes,
Reference
yeah, it's
everywhere.
an often parodied part.
And it lasts far too long.
It lasts far too long. It's so awful.
The actor's name is Robert Shaw,
Robert Shaw.
and
Thank
he
you.
is dead.
The theme tonight.
Is this-
I'm so sorry.
I feel like Jaws is like Macbeth or something. They're
It's
all
like the Wizard of
dying.
Oz,
can't
like
say
people
it.
like just curse, like
Yeah.
people just keep
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
dying.
Anyway, so he drags his nail down the chalk, and like he somehow found time to like draw a picture of a shark eating a stick person.
Like the
There's
meeting
just,
was
like,
going on, and he's just like,
Inappropriate,
He,
so
like-
inappropriate.
Yeah.
And then one guy's like, "What are you doing over there?"
it's like, oh, nothing. Just pay attention to the meeting.
Just whatever. I'm gonna drag my nails down the chalkboard later. Just wait
the
for
mother
it.
of the
Just wait for it.
dead child, like staring at the chalkboard, like, are you
That's
fuck-
supposed to be my boy.
But he's like, I'll catch your shark for you. Give me $10,000 by myself, and I'll go out there and I'll do it.
Okay, so
Okay.
he's the guy he's on the boat with
Yes.
with Richie
Richie
Dreyfuss.
Rich.
Yeah, Richie Dreyfuss.
He's the guy whose boat needs to be bigger.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, he doesn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a big
Yeah.
boat.
So he's like, I'll catch your shark for you. I've caught thousands of sharks. Like, just give me $10,000 and money for some meals, and I'll do it.
And $10,000 in '70s money is like $2 billion. So, that's a lot of money for this small town to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's and the town folk, like the mayor and the chief, basically go. Think about it.
That's verbatim from the movie.
They're like, I mean, we could do that.
They're kind of like, that was kind of weird how you came in there, but like, we'll think about it. And he's like, you think about it.
do that.
Oh my
Think
god.
about
He
it.
gives him a kiss on the cheek, like.
Okay, just like let's call it. What would be the modern equivalent to this movie? Like, what
Jaws?
is the big?
Sorry,
There is no equivalent.
But like,
There's no
what kind
equivalent.
of thing? What kind of monster or what kind of
Oh.
like?
something to scare people. Like,
No,
like
like
what would make people?
Sasquatch, eh?
That's,
Well,
you know,
serious.
that's
But
not
like-
a bad idea. Make
Shark-
people
but
scared of
Alenka,
parks.
Sharks are real.
No. Oh, I thought you
Oh,
meant
I
in
see what you mean.
reference to exactly like
No, but
catch the thing.
If they made a movie nowadays where they had a guy come in like, "I'll catch you blank,"
Right. What would it be?
What would it be?
That's a good question.
Oh God, I'll catch your.
Like a bear.
Nothing's
like a
scary to
big
us
fucking
anymore,
bear.
though.
Hmm.
Wait,
No.
what was the
I'll
one with
catch your
Leonardo?
Russian spy.
Stop it.
Oh, the bear from Revenant.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Mhm.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
but that's yeah, I guess.
I'd
Yeah.
pay. I'd
But no,
pay
but
$20
that's-
to watch
Yeah, I
Leonardo
That's an
DiCaprio
old
fall
movie.
on that bear.
Like, sorry, that is a movie based in olden times where like $2,000 then would be like $1 trillion.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I don't really know what, like, I don't know, like clowns. You remember when like clowns were a big thing? People
mean,
dress
don't-
up as clowns and like
Dude,
haunted
It.
people in the like back.
Oh,
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is already a
Okay.
movie.
If they make an It 3, which they won't,
Right.
because obviously there's no more.
Yeah.
But
They've ran out.
they should just have a guy come in like, "I'll catch your clown."
Give me $10,000 in a boat and I'll catch a clown.
They bring back Quint
Yeah.
from Jaw. They bring him back to life.
yeah.
And they're like
They reanimate-
$10,000.
They like weekend at Bernie's, Robert Shaw's or whatever corpse, and just like fucking like do like weekend at Bernie's with his corpse.
Oh, Alenka, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh,
Oh,
right,
fucking
haven't seen
add
it.
to the fucking
What type
list.
No.
of movie is that?
Add it
It's
to
a
that
comedy.
Google
It is
sheet,
a comedy.
Great.
spreadsheet.
But anyways, yes. So Quint is like, I'll catch your boat for, or I'll catch your shark for you.
So it is a boat. It was a boating accident.
The whole time.
I'll catch your boat. It's right over there. Oh, holy
He's
shit.
like, think about it, and they're like, we'll think about it, and he's like, okay, and he just kind of like slinks back to wherever
Yeah,
it
he like
went.
just
lives.
disappears into the
Contacting
aether.
him.
Did anybody get that guy's number? Like-
I guess Quint is like a well-known weirdo in the town,
Yeah.
so like
He
they're
slinks
just kind
into
of
the
like,
walls.
thank you.
Well, they're all
Yeah.
just like, well, yeah, we don't care if he dies. We got to get rid of the poor
Funny
people somehow.
enough,
He's the only homeless person. He lives on his boat.
hang until later because I got a fucking twist for you
Ooh.
about Quint.
Fuck. Please continue.
So Chief Brody and Hooper meet over wine, and he's like, "You're the only sensible person left in town." La 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 la. This is where things get foggy, folks.
Foggy like the waters on Lake
Amity.
Amity.
Yeah, so,
they finish, and then 4th of July happens, and the kid dies, and they
No.
call
The
meeting.
kid does not die on 4th of July. 4th of July happens. Okay, here's what it is. So 4th of July. So it's the 4th of July at Amity. Thank you for reminding me, baby. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too. That's
4th
nice.
of July happens, and everybody's there. Word has gotten out about Amity's shark problem.
Right.
So,
It's Sharktown now.
but yet the tourists come to Amity for 4th of July, and like they populate the town, and nobody's going in the water. Everybody's at the beach.
I can't imagine why.
Not a single soul is in the water.
So,
So
okay,
the
if I-
so
if I-
the so the
you continue, I'll
so
interject
so
later.
so the mayor of Amity goes up to, I guess, like a governor, like a government official, or like a
Mhm.
spokesperson, like
Mhm.
someone who should be in like representing the town and how good everything is.
the local crackhead.
And he's like, "Why aren't you in the water?" And he's like, oh, well, I
know,
I
sharks.
just put some sunscreen on and I gotta wait for it to soak in. You know how it goes. You know what I'm talking about. And he's like, Ben, his name's not Ben. I just made it up. He's like, Benjamin, get in the water.
Mr. Shapiro, get in the water, please.
Go in the water. So his wife, and their 2 young children go into the shark-infested waters
So now-
and drag the rest of the town with them
Shut up.
into the water.
I'd like to interject
Wait.
for a moment here.
What the fuck? How stupid are
And then
you?
and then Quentin Hooper, or at least Hooper, is all like,
Hooper,
"What?"
Hooper is on the water,
Okay.
accompanied with like somebody in a helicopter who's like looking out for sharks. So there's people
They got,
like
like,
there's
the Coast
people
Guard-
in
the Coast
boats
Guard
and
has
like
come, and they're
helicopters
like-
riding over the waters, making sure like looking out for the shark, like looking for the shark.
So
Okay.
if I can
the
add,
waters are supervised at this point.
people are at your beach, right?
Yes.
People are buying concessions. People are playing games. Who's a fuck? They go in the water.
Why do they need to go in the water?
I don't understand.
Exactly.
I sincerely don't
100%.
understand.
The people still.
Well,
need-
this is the
Wait,
thing,
wait,
right?
for the gram?
That's
They're gonna post it for
fucking-
themselves.
See, this is the
Sweet.
thing too. This is the thing too. Is that like the mayor's whole thing is that if you tell people that there's sharks in our waters, then our whole thing is gonna go to shit. But people are, if you look around, they're establishing shots of Amity. People are profiting off of saying that we have shark infested waters. There's a giant, so there's an enormous like tourist boat that takes people out, and it's like, come, the shark of you, like come out on this boat with us, and like see if you can see a shark,
It's like
whale.
African lion safari.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like
on
whale
the
watching
sea.
tours. There are like arcade
New
games
England Shark
installed that
Safari.
are like shark themed. Like this town is still making fucking money off of like
Yeah.
a shark being here. It's not affecting the economy at all, and yet the mayor is still like,
No,
no,
this-
our bread and butter is the
It's
beach.
fucking baby.
People got to
water
go in the water, the
specifically.
water specifically. So he
Yeah.
goes up to like his like government friend and is like,
Or is
Man.
it because his fetish is a middle-aged man in the water?
yeah, basically, and
He's
what is
like,
essentially
Get in
boxers.
the water.
This is the other thing too, is that like if you look around, all of the honeys on fucking like Jaws are fucking like dressed to the nines, and all the men are dressed in what are essentially boxer shorts.
Yeah,
It's a
the
fucking
70s, yeah.
disgrace. It's a fucking disgrace, is what it is.
Ben gets up and gets in the water, and the mayor grabs a
Exactly.
handful of ass. You know, He's like, that's off camera though. That's underneath the shot. Yeah. It's for the character, but it's underneath. Yeah.
Regardless, he coaxes his government friend into going into the water with his young family, which is messed all the way up.
In the water, Ben.
And then the town eventually follows him. They're like, oh, well, if this guy's going in the water, then I guess the water is fine. So the whole town goes into the water, and a shark fin pokes up
Fuck.
and starts swimming around.
Oh my god.
And someone's like, holy fucking shit!
Rightly so.
Shark! So there's like a wide panic. People are getting stampeded. An old man gets fucking
trampled.
waterboarded, just waterboarded completely. Yeah,
That
you
is
like see
also
it.
funny to
You
me.
like see it. It's like close up, and
Yeah,
he's
to
like,
me, that's also funny.
he's like,
Yeah, listen, children can't. If children die, it's sad. But if the elderly are supposed to
gonna
die,
die.
right? Like, you get old
exactly.
to
they've
die.
had a whole life.
You
They've
know,
had a
They've
full
had
life.
it.
Exactly.
And
They've
what
got a
better
full
way
experience.
than getting stampeded in the water because of
Exactly.
a shark?
And
Yes.
I'd rather get stampeded because of a shark than stampeded on like Black Friday. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
They, like at his funeral, they'll be like, he didn't die of natural causes. He died from a fucking shark because somebody ran him the fuck over.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
That's
a
a
story
story.
here.
the,
Yeah,
the
there's a
shark
story.
got the assist on that kill. You know what I mean?
I'm sure he's counting.
KDA
Bruce.
is ridiculous.
Bruce fucking has 2 goals, 2 assists so far this season. Let's see where he goes from here. This rookie is fucking like, this rookie has really proven himself this season.
My god, I would love to do a whole movie.
Yeah.
Because Sam just called the shark Bruce, because the mechanical shark they named it Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But something I think is hilarious is that Bruce is also the name of the shark from Finding Nemo.
So,
Oh.
okay, backstory. So, another little like behind the scenes thing that I know about the shark from the mechanical shark built for Jaws is that Steven Spielberg famously named the shark Bruce after his lawyer.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
see?
yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Fuck it up.
So then, they make Finding Nemo. They name the shark Bruce in Finding Nemo because that's what the shark was named in Jaws.
Now, could you imagine
So
how
that is
different,
kind of like a down the line thing.
like how different Jaws would be if it was Bruce the shark from Finding Nemo? Like you go at that kid and he's like, name's Bruce.
End of film. End of film.
Hard cut.
Yeah.
Bruce
But yeah.
as himself.
But yeah, so the town freaks out and like waterboards this old man.
Sorry. I love the idea. Like the stampede is happening.
Yes.
People are running. Someone grab an old man, like put him down the towel, like throw a towel over his face.
Yeah.
Who did 9/11? Where's Bin Laden?
Oh my god.
But yeah, so then they find the shark fin, like Hooper and his gang of like Coast Guard people with like a harpoon armed, like pointed at the shark.
Mm-hmm.
And they pointed the shark fin. The shark fin like pulls up from the water, and it's two kids wearing a cardboard shark fin.
Yeah.
So a couple of kids like heard.
They almost killed another kid.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
I mean, I would. If they did, I would have to turn this horror into a comedy.
Honestly,
Yes,
if this movie
yes.
if this movie was made in
come on.
2019, those kids would come up and that Coast Guard would harpoon one
Oh,
right in the
yeah, oh,
face.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they would
yeah.
panic. So the kids are like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, it was just a prank. I didn't mean to."
There's one detail you missed that I'm gonna jump in with.
Yes. I'm gonna
So
take a drink.
during this time, Chief Brody's son and his friends are trying to get like a raft they built like on the ocean.
Yeah.
And Chief Brody's like, fuck that. There's a shark in the water. Go to the pond across, like just down the way from the
Move
beach.
to the pond. Yeah.
So the pond is like it was like filled up from the ocean, so it's connected to the ocean, but it is ultimately a smaller body of
Like
water.
isolated.
So fast forward, they find these kids with the cardboard shark fin. Well, you can guess what Bruce is doing. Bruce has found his way into the pond
Ooh.
where Chief Brody's son is
Oh, fuck.
and his
Shit.
friends. Shit's getting pretty hairy.
So they're like, "Oh my god, these fucking kids, these fucking loser kids. I fucking hate these kids. I cannot believe that these kids like joked us out. What if there was a real emergency?"
I should harpoon these kids. You know
Well, let me tell you, son. So, Chief Brody's son Michael and his friends are out on this raft in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of this pond, and this man is like, they're trying to tie like some sort of knot to like help with the raft.
You know boat knots.
And this like guy comes up in like a fisherman's boat, like a rowboat, and he's like, "Hey, you kids wanna do it this way? You wanna do it that way?" And while he's explaining to them how to tie a knot, Bruce slithering his way into the pond, and he comes
This
up
poor guy.
and he like knocks the boat over, and you see it's probably one of the best shots in cinema history. It is probably
Big praise from
it
Sam
is
Mercury.
probably like a historical, like
Go off.
notable shot in film cinema history.
Mhm.
You see the shark from under the water, just his like rippled like form in the water.
It's actually
and
the
he-
first time you get like what I would describe as like an idea of how
Yes.
big the shark
Yeah,
is.
the first time you really see the monster, and it's just sort of like a silhouette under the water, and he turns to the side, and he eats the fisherman in the rowboat.
And all you see is the bottom,
Right beside
bottom
the
of the lake
kids.
and like his gross leg just like
Just, like
floating
floats to the
down.
bottom.
Yeah.
You see this like, but like it's 1975, so it's clearly a fucking prop leg, which is again like how I managed as a child to swallow this movie as someone who doesn't like horror movies because like it's so obviously fake.
Mm.
But it's still really scary. So like he tips over this boat and he tips over the kid's raft like the shark does, and you see the like shark's eye view, and he swims up to Michael and he goes in the other direction and like keeps going.
This
You're like,
shark is intelligent.
It's a crazy shark.
Yeah, he's like, "I've already got my dinner. I don't need to eat this kid."
Do you know-
but
I don't need
I'm on a
desserts.
diet.
He's doing keto.
Yeah.
Was he like? Was he just like, oh, I ate that kid before and I didn't know it was a kid. I was so sorry. So I'm not gonna eat this kid.
Sorry.
Do you think like kids for sharks are like veal? You know what I mean? Like it's
Oh,
like
100%.
the tender meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like,
He sees the kid. He's like,
I know it's kind of morally wrong, but I just love it. I just gotta have it.
so good. Fried up some breadcrumbs.
I know the mothers scream when I eat them, but like it's so fucking good.
He's like talking
They're
to his
so
shark
tender.
friends. He's like, "Have you tasted a kid though? Like, dude, have you tasted it though?"
Have you eaten a kid though?
Yeah. You know what
So,
we forgot about before we continue?
yes.
We never talked about that jump scare.
No. This is later.
That happens before.
No, it doesn't.
They find the tooth in the boat. Remember, because they go to the mayor.
No, it doesn't.
I swear to God that like.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, fine. Continue then. I mean,
Maybe it does.
It-
I'm drunk. I'm ignorant.
I'm telling you right now
Leave me alone.
that scene because they go.
Okay,
they
happens
find
before the
boat,
kid. Okay, maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Before the July 4th happens. So, long story short,
Mm-hmm.
rewind. The Hooper and Chief Brody have been like, you know what? Fuck all this nonsense. Let's go find some proof. All right, let's go.
Oh, and they
And they go to that boat.
No. Before that, they like cut open the shark.
That's right, the tiger shark.
They cut open the tiger shark that the fisherman found to be
'Cause they were like,
because Hooper. Okay, so Hooper tells the mayor this is not the shark because it doesn't have the radius of the mouth, and I already explained that part. Yeah. So to prove it, Hooper is like, just let me open up the shark.
Mhm.
And the mayor's like, I will not let you open up a shark in the middle of the day on this fucking dock.
Yeah, the mayor's like, ew, gross.
Disgusting. So after Hooper goes to Brody's house and has some wine, they're like, let me open up this shark.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, like, this shark's digestive system is so slow that it doesn't fully digest after 24 hours. So like, if in fact this is the shark that killed Alex the kid, then he will still be in there if I open up his digestive system.
A very morbid thought.
So they go like it's very hidden away. It's very private. They go to like a dock
Like a
or something
parking
like
lot.
that.
What if he was still in? What if he was just like, holy fuck, oh my god, it's been a while.
Just like, hard.
Just water. And
They're like, I will take that gamble.
Is that
I
the,
will take that.
is that the
fucking
equivalent of
bet.
like waking up after a long sleep and really having to pee? Like
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
like, oh, where's the bathroom? Oh my god.
But yeah, so they go in and Hooper opens up the shark and he finds like a license plate
Mhm.
and like some like a couple fish heads. And he's like, this isn't the shark. This is not the shark. See, like there's no human remains in here. Like this is not the shark. But I bet you any fucking money I can find this fucking shark. So he's like, I'm going out there, and Hooper's like, I'm going out there, and you're coming with me. And Chief Brody is like, I hate the water, dude. I don't know. And he's like, you live on an island.
And he's
Can't like.
I'm wine drunk. Like, let's fucking do it. Let's just do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, let's do it. I need about 2 more bottles of wine. Chief Brody's like, I can make that happen. So they get drunk, which is really, really ill-informed. Like you can tell
Very
it's 1975
irresponsible.
because Chief Brody is wasted.
Yeah.
Just so wasted this whole time. They go out, it's pitch fucking black. They go out on a
Mistake number
boat,
2.
on Hooper's boat, like his like fancy sciencey boat, and like they come across this abandoned, wrecked fisherman's boat. And he's like, this is so-and-so's boat, like David whatever. He's a fisherman, like I know him. This is his boat. And Hooper is like, I got a feeling that this is not his boat anymore. And and so Hooper is like, I'm going in. And Brody is like, what? And he's like, I'm going diving. And Brody is like, what?
Yeah. This is a
It
very
is
like,
like midnight.
they're this drunk. It's like, yeah, I'm going into the water,
It is-
dude. I'm gonna fucking do
it
it.
is midnight.
Oh my
And
God.
Hooper is like, I've done this before. Buddy, I'm an oceanographer. Don't worry about
And he
it.
jumps in the boat, in the water, like directly into Jaws' mouth. Just like he's waiting there for him. Just like, whoop.
Yeah, just like swan dives into the shark's mouth.
Gulp.
Roll credits. Yeah, so
They go in the water. they go in the water.
Hooper goes diving, and he looks at the hull of the boat, and he finds a giant, absolutely fucking enormous tooth, like just
Like-
the most absurdly enormous
Like-
tooth.
Like great white's teeth are big.
Yeah.
And this is bigger than
Yeah,
normal.
he's like
this is a
holding it,
big
and
shark.
it's like the entire palm of his hand, and like at this point,
It's
like Richard
megalodon
Dreyfuss is a
shit.
fully grown adult man. So picture an adult man's hand, and the shark's tooth is taking
He's
up the
got, like-
majority of the palm of his
got
hand.
like big dick
Mm.
hands.
How many times have I said
Yeah.
hand in the last
Yeah.
minute? I don't
He's got
remember.
He's got BHE, big
Exactly.
hand energy.
Yeah.
big hand energy.
He's got a PhD, a pretty huge hand. So
PHH.
he's like, oh my god, yeah, okay, perfect. This is proof that it's a great white shark is bigger than this tiger shark that we found. Okay, perfect. And then the guy's head like swims up
Oh yeah. It's like
from out of the
if you
in, like
can imagine, I'll paint the picture. You can imagine like
Yeah.
you're like he's underwater, but it's like murky and green and dark, and there's the hull of the boat, and there's a big hole in the boat, and he has like reached in and grabbed the shark tooth, and he's like, I got it right here. And then if you can imagine the fakest, palest,
like
dead
a mannequin,
head,
like a mannequin's head.
You know what?
Like a Le Chateau mannequin's
like one
head.
eye is like out and like,
like,
you know, honest to God, they play a sting when it shows up
Yeah.
too, so it's like, and every single time I'm like, oh fuck, Jesus, sorry, I'm so sorry.
So like the head like swims out, and it's honestly like one of the best jump scares in cinematic history, like dead ass. It's also the only jump scare in the entire movie for what it's worth. Like this
For a
movie,
horror film, that's like
something that I really love and appreciate about this movie as a horror film is that it's like, yeah, no, we're gonna fucking scare you. Like there's
build
a,
the tension.
exactly. But like
uh,
once
jump
the
scare.
monster shows his face, it's like it's fucking there. Like it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like this is the monster. Hello, thank you,
and
hi.
it's because it's a shark. It's real. ass thing.
Exactly. We've all seen pictures of sharks, so it's like it's not scary, but it's still like scary because like you don't want to come face to face with
Because
a great white
they're in
shark.
Lake Ontario, Alenka.
No, they're
So-
different. They're different breeds of sharks.
No,
They're also
not that one.
I apologize.
nothing quite as big as a great white shark exists in like freshwater sharks. They're all like smaller.
Yeah.
They can still fuck you up. I think
No,
you
it's
should know that.
very
That's
dangerous.
fair.
So I apologize for those listening on like
Oh my
you know, whatever
God.
whatever
I'm
this
too
ends up
drunk to
on.
look at this.
But this is the picture of
Oh!
the head.
Yeah.
This comes out of underwater. Just like
Yeah.
floats
It just
into
kind
the
of
scene.
floats out of the
I
darkness.
don't like that even on a phone. I
And,
don't
like-
want that sneaking up on me. I don't want.
Here's a picture from the scene. Like imagine that.
Oh,
imagine
yeah.
that space
Yeah.
where it is.
Yeah.
We
let
will
me
post
see.
It looks
these
like
links.
it looks
Yeah,
like
here.
Give me
I'll
that.
say. Oh, here.
Give
One
me
sec.
that.
I'm
it
gonna
looks
save
like
them real
it
quick.
kind
Give
of
me that.
it kind of looks
Give me
like
that.
There you go.
Ew.
Halloween guy Michael Myers.
It does
No,
kind
you
of look
know
like
what
Michael
this
Myers,
looks
just a little
like?
bit.
It looks like Paul Giamatti.
It does look like Paul Giamatti.
Fun fact, cameo.
He was cast in this movie. Paul
Yeah.
He's the
Giamatti.
dead guy.
Paul Giamatti just like swam out.
I'll
Just his head for this scene.
I'll send you these images later when you're editing this.
But yeah, so the head slips out in like the best jump scare in all of history. And like to be honest, like I measure all jump scares against this jump scare. And if any of the jump scares get more jump scary than like that than Jaws, then I'm out. Like I'm
You're
out.
like, fuck this shit.
Get me out of here. So yeah, what part did I fast forward to, Cam? I
Well,
don't
so
remember.
we that was a jump scare. Now we're actually
Yeah.
back to where we were before. Which
so
was
It just
Sorry.
swam past the kid.
that's right. It killed.
Right.
It killed, and then
It
Chief
killed the
Brody's son
fisherman.
goes comatose.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Chief Brody's son has to be rushed to the hospital
Yeah.
after his close
Fucking-
encounter with the shark.
Shaggy from Scooby Doo gets knocked off the boat and dies.
That's
and
who
then,
it is?
No.
No.
He's just like a stoner. Like
Damn
his
it.
No,
voice is very.
I was gonna be like Liam.
He's
what's
like-
his name?
Like, shut up.
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew
He goes,
Lillard
oh jeez,
is like-
Scoob, there's a big shark in the lake. He gets fucking
This
eaten.
is years before SLC.
But no. The reason why I say that is because I found his voice to be very like, "Hey, you kids, what are you doing out here? Like, you guys, you want a boat or something?"
The son has to be rushed to the hospital
Because he saw a man get killed.
Yeah, and then he's like shocked, and the nurse is like, "Oh, he's just shocked. He'll be fine." And then the mayor comes in to make sure that Michael's okay, and Chief Brody is like, "Now will you fucking a guy just ate a shark in front of everybody on the 4th of fucking July? Will you fucking close the beaches already? Oh my fucking god!
Mr. Mayor.
You got your money. You got your money for the 4th of July. Now will you close the fucking beaches so that like maybe your population will stop fucking shrinking by the day?"
Shrinking. There's like 100 people in this town. That was like 98.
And
You gotta
then,
change the sign.
Pulling numbers off every day.
And what is probably the most like white politician Donald Trump motherfucking weak bitch ass line
there.
in the entire history of cinema, the mayor goes, "You know, my kids were in the water too that day."
Yeah, but they didn't die. Yeah. So like someone's kid
Did
died.
yours almost get eaten by a shark, bitch?
2 people died.
Did yours almost get eaten by a shark? Fuck you, mayor. So the mayor, regardless though, the mayor finally agrees to like close the beaches so that like
Finally.
Brody and Hooper can like whatever. And he's like, and then Brody is like, "And you're gonna pay Quint that $10,000 to go out on a boat and kill the fucking shark." And the mayor's like, "Fine, sure, whatever."
I don't have that kind of 70s
And then
money lying around.
Chief Brody is like, Chief Brody is like, "Will you also sign this paper that says like I'm a big fat lying dumbass?" And the mayor's like, yes, of course. He like signs the
just
paper.
like, oh, I got the 4th of July. I'm good now.
Yeah.
We're done.
He's like, "I'm a
Do
big
whatever you
lying
want."
dumbass, and Quint can have $10,000 to go kill the shark." So it is now up to, I guess this is like the beginning of Act 3, end of Act 2. It is now up to Quint, Hooper, and Brody to go out on a boat, just 3 men
Shark hunting dream team.
in a small fisherman's boat out on the water
Just
to
3
hunt
snacky
the
men.
great white shark.
Are they all snacks or
They-
just
the two of them.
okay.
Brody and Hooper are snacks.
Quint is not a snack.
Quint is not
Quint
a
is
snack.
The
not a
weird,
Nope.
homeless,
No.
Interesting.
crazy man. Is not a
Quint
snack?
is the drunk uncle of the family. Everybody knows he's a drunk, but everyone's like, "That's just Uncle Quint. Like, we just leave him be. Don't ask him about politics." And then inevitably somebody brings a boyfriend who asks him about his politics, and he's like, "You gotta like," and he makes some like really anti-Semitic comment, and like,
And it's like, wow.
it's not kosher. It's not kosher.
Anti-Semitism, right? Yeah, wow.
It's
We need
like,
to find
wow,
a
really?
solution
In
for
these
these
days?
sharks.
Exactly. But it's up to these 3 men now to go out on a boat and kill Bruce, the shark, to like save Amity
It's lit.
from the killings. So yeah, Chief Brody and his wife go to Quint's, I guess, like hangout, his like fisherman's hangout where he
His
lives.
boat.
He's got like
Where he
he's
lives.
got like a hut, like a building
Shack
where he like
in the swamp.
A teepee.
yeah,
Like,
where he goes out and like I guess Quint is known like he hunts sharks, like that's his thing. He's a fisherman, but his specialty is sharks. He hunts sharks for a living, and he has like shark jaws displayed like
Yeah.
all fucking
All of his
over
kills.
his. It's like imagine like an FBI agent in Al Qaeda, but like shark jaws.
Can we rewind real quick?
Of course.
So, I know another line from this movie,
Okay.
and like, so does this happen when Quint does the chalkboard thing? Is that when he goes like, 13 kids go into the water, 12 kids come out of the water?
That's when he like draws his nails down on the chalkboard.
That is
Yeah.
that is what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, what is this quote?
It's like I can't remember it. Okay, so behind the scenes note, like just like fun fact about Jaws. The actor who plays Quint is a fucking drunk. Like,
Yeah, like-
he is drunk for like 98% of this filming, and he and Richard Dreyfuss
Shoot it back.
notoriously do not get along
Sure.
because he's drunk as a skunk and he will not stop taunting Richard Dreyfuss and making fun of him and like calling him a sissy pants and
So
like
funny.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
He'd be like, "Yo,
Yeah.
Dick Dreyfus."
Yeah.
Hey, fuck you, driver.
Yeah. So, like,
go get eaten by
I-
the shark today, you fucking pussy.
I love
Hands.
Jaws. I have seen Jaws at least 3 times. I don't actually know what the actor who plays Quint is saying for a majority of the movie.
No, most of the movies like,
it's just slurred. It's just slurred speech. Just straight up slurred
Total
speech.
method actor.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I'm just rambling over here. Yeah.
Kiss him right on the mouth.
You're the
So-
Quint of this podcast.
Of this podcast. Sam's over here explaining the movie, and I'm just the fucking peanut guy. He's just like leaning in the comments every now and then.
Yeah. So I don't actually know what he says, but yes, something along the lines of like 2 kids go out of the water, 5 kids come out of the water.
Wait, 2
Do you
kids
know-
go
That's more kids. It's like
They
they
multiply.
found kids down there.
Dude, like he like gives them word problems. He's like,
He's like, 5
Jordan
kids go
has
into the
6
water,
cans
2
of
kids
paints
come
to paint a
out.
63 by
How many did the shark
47
eat?
volume room. What's the area of?
God.
How many kids are in the shark's stomach?
What is that accent?
I don't know.
It's his professor voice.
Cajun?
Oh my god!
Cajun.
Give me some more of this.
Sam, drink the whole thing. Just shoot it back.
Shoot
Just like,
the rest
just like
of
get rid of
it.
this.
Yeah,
just
right
like,
out the boat. Here we go. Here we go.
Hey. You done? There's more.
It's not bad. It's not a bad drink.
Keep going. There you go. Hey,
Wait.
There you go. And da-da-da-da. Da-da. Da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Gravy.
This
Ew.
gravy boat was $4.
Okay, it's done.
Good.
Okay, it's
No
done.
more
I'm
drink.
officially as drunk as I'm going to get on this podcast.
And Sam followed by. Ooh.
Anyways, third act. It's time to go out on the water.
Mm.
Kill a shark.
Boat time.
So,
Not big enough.
their whole shtick is, Quint is like, I have these plastic barrels. They float in the water. I'm gonna attach them to a harpoon. Harpoon the shark as he swims by. The plastic barrels will keep the shark from swimming under,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll force him to stay at the surface level so we can harpoon the shark.
Yeah.
We'll kill the shark that way. Doesn't fucking work.
No.
The
No.
shark is too strong
It's a shark.
for the barrels.
It's a smart
and
shark.
He keeps detaching them and like sending them back up. So they're like, I don't know. Do you have more barrels? We're gonna just keep. What if we try 2 barrels? Okay. What if we try 3 barrels at one time? Detach them to one harpoon. Just
I gotta say, I really love your two's reaction to the barrel thing. Like, yeah. Like, if I was a shark, I got shot by the bear, I would do the exact same thing.
He's gonna shoot him, and he's gonna keep him at the surface. Wow. I am
Barrels?
there.
Talking about barrels.
I am there, ladies and gentlemen.
She shot back the rest of that.
Yeah,
Think about
there was
drink.
maybe more than I thought.
So yeah, and
Okay,
so they're trying
yeah.
the barrels, and it doesn't work. They're like, I don't know what to do. The shark is stronger than literally anything.
This ain't your average shark.
Anything. that can like try and keep the shark like close to the surface. They're like, I don't know what I'm gonna fucking do.
Hmm.
It doesn't fucking matter because the shark is agitated and he keeps coming to the surface anyways to try and like kill the fucking boat.
He's so mad. Why is he so mad?
He's so fucking mad. Meanwhile, during like a calm moment, it's the evening. They're like, we're done shark hunting for the day. Everything's fucked. Like, we can't do this
Get
anymore.
some more red wine, benches.
Literally,
Exactly what they do.
literally, they're like, let's get drunk.
They start singing like boat songs. And
Yeah,
shit.
they start singing like sailor songs and blah blah blah.
Eyes
And then
of eyes, build a bow.
They sing.
and eyes by the sail, sir. Eyes by the catch the fish.
No,
Takes
they
him home
do,
the wiser.
and-
Why do I remember this? I sang the Singer 6. Now I don't know why I remember the songs to this word.
Nice. That was impressive.
Thank you.
Alenka, as a Family Guy fan, they sing the song, the "Show Me the Way to Go Home."
Yeah.
I'm
Tired and I wanna go
to
home.
bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Wow, fake
Alenka
fan.
hasn't seen that
What?
Family Guy episode.
No.
Stay
What's
tuned.
the context here?
There's the Family Guy context, the Jaws context.
Obviously the family. Guy.
The episode of Family Guy. Remember when Peter builds his bar in the basement?
Oh yeah.
And Suey gets hammered, like they bring him downstairs, and he gets
Yeah,
hammered.
yeah.
And then Lois is like, "Okay, you've had enough. Like, come on, Stewie." And like he brings him up, and he sings that song, "Show
Oh.
me the
Way
way
to
Oh
to
yeah,
go
you're right.
home."
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Tired and I wanna
Everybody.
go to bed.
Wait,
Just
side
the
note-
women.
Side
Yes.
note, great Alex Borstein impression.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Yes.
tried.
So they sing the song, they have the camaraderie, and then Hooper and Quint start comparing shark scars. So they're like, I got one for you. He like pulls up, and then they like pull up their legs, and they're like, look at this, like a Mako bit me in the
Yeah.
fucking calf. And
slowly
then
Australian.
yeah,
Bit me in the fucking calf.
in Brisbane.
And then Quint's just like, you bit my dick off.
He just drops.
Do you want to know why I'm not
It gets
married?
really emotional. It's a cry. It's like, it's been years since I've felt the touch of a woman.
Only
Shark-
felt the touch of sharks.
Shark bit my dick off.
Regardless, like Hooper shares his shark bite stories, and then it also should be noted that Hooper is a rich kid. Like it's sort of like flossed into the narrative a little bit that Hooper comes from money and his parents funded his university education, but he
Oh,
like
good for you.
they bought his boat, they bought his
So
equipment, but
the
all of the
sharks are
knowledge
just
is
like Eat
his.
the rich.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Robin Hood shark.
But all of the knowledge is his. He is knowledgeable about sharks.
Bernie Shark.
So
Bernie Sharkers.
If Bernie Sanders was to reveal at the end of all this that he was in fact a great white shark, I don't know if I'd be surprised.
but yeah, so they're like Hooper and Quint are comparing shark stories, and then Quint is like, I got one for you. I was on the USS Indianapolis that delivered Hiroshima to Japan, and then our shark got impaled by a bomb, and like everybody on the. This is a real story, by the way. Like the
No,
USS Indianapolis is a real
really scary.
boat that actually really delivered Hiroshima to Japan.
So
That eventually blew up
Sam,
Hiroshima.
Hiroshima is a city in Japan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
You can't like. They brought the city to Japan.
thank you. Yes. So they bought
Well,
the.
what
they,
was the
they,
bomb name?
That's a good question,
It's like-
actually.
I think it was like the Big Boy or like.
Oh
you
yeah,
could-
Fat Boy.
Big
You
boy.
should fact check this
Fat Boy
later when
Slim.
yeah, it was like
Fat boys.
we've come a long, long way together through the hard times and the good. So, anyways, the USS Indianapolis is a real ship in real history. In World War II, they delivered the bomb that eventually destroyed Hiroshima. But the boat that delivered it was a top secret mission with like no supervision.
Mm-hmm.
And
So they
boat-
stayed up all night drinking.
yeah,
Pop.
yeah. So they got bombed by a Japanese missile. The ship went down in all of 12 minutes, and like it had like 1,200 men on the boat, and like 300 men got eaten by sharks when the boat went down.
Because they sank, but they were bleeding, but they were also in
Yeah.
shark-infested waters. So
Yes.
like they
So-
like
And this is all
So
real.
obvious.
It's
This
real.
is all
It's
what
real.
It's a
It's
real
real.
story,
Like
yeah.
I swear to God, William, Wikipedia. it.
William,
Right.
Bill,
I swear to
It's Billiam.
Billiam.
I swear to God, Will look it up. Like it's a
Alright.
real boat, and this
Okay.
actually happened.
It's a
Like
fucking
like a
terrifying
third
story.
a third
It's
of the
really
ship's
scary.
men got eaten by sharks.
Could you imagine like being like, oh my god, I made it, and then just getting eaten by a shark?
Yeah. So Quint drops his bomb that he was on the Indianapolis, and this is like where the Captain Ahab. Have you read Moby Dick? Are you familiar with Moby Dick, Alenka?
No.
Mm.
Okay, so anyways,
Is that a movie too? Actually.
It is.
No, wait.
Well, they did.
It is,
a-
but it's more known for its novel.
They
than
did
its
a
book.
they did a
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Hemsworth
Hemingway.
movie with that was Moby Dick sort of.
No, it's not
Chris
Hemingway. It's
Hemingway.
Melville.
Hemingway.
Really?
The book is by Herman Melville.
Pause 1 second.
Oh,
What's
sure.
the movie about the kid that becomes friends with the killer whale? That's not Moby Dick,
That's
right?
Free Willy.
Okay, just making sure.
Moby Dick is not Hemingway. What am I thinking?
Moby
that's
Dick is
Hemingway?
Herman Melville. Old Man in the Sea
That's what I'm
is
thinking of.
is Hemingway.
I'm thinking of Old Man.
I-
in the
Which means
Sea.
that I am not too drunk, and I am so proud of myself.
Free Willy would be a very different movie if it was Moby Dick.
I thought they were the same. I thought it was the same story. I thought I'd seen it.
Moby
Also-
Dick, the white beluga whale jumps over the kid. He's like, yeah, and he just eats him.
I love how we're no. I cannot believe. Sorry. There are like 3 narratives going on right now, and it is Jaws, and it is Moby Dick, and it is Free Willy.
Free Willy was derivative
And
from
I'm
Jaws,
so
right?
I don't even remember where I am in the story of Jaws right now.
They're on the
It's
boat.
weird,
They got drunk and they sang songs, and then Jaws attacks the
Drop the
boat.
bomb.
No.
Drop
Yeah,
the
so
bomb.
But they
so
don't-
so Quint drops the bomb that he
Yeah.
was on Indianapolis, buddy.
Watch them hands.
I'm so sorry.
Quint drops the bomb that he was on Indianapolis, which like a third of the crew got eaten by sharks, which is a real story, but Quint was not actually on it because he's a fictional character.
Right.
What?
So
I'm turning
So-
this movie off.
I want to watch fake movies. All right.
So oh fuck me. So like everyone gets really somber for a moment and then they continue singing songs, but then like there's like a
They take one pause and they're like, well, should we get back to our singing?
And then they're just
tired
like,
and I want to go to bed.
shake that all on the floor, shake that.
Quint's like, I know all the words to "All Right" by Kendrick Lamar. I could sing that.
But then there's like a pff,
Mhm.
pff, and it's fucking Bruce, and he's like taking up a personal vendetta against the orca, which is the
Mhm.
name of Quint's book, by the way, because orcas are the only animals that can kill sharks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
R
Fun
slash
fact.
movie detail.
R/movie details.
All right.
They've
So,
got the right
um,
amount of like power and mana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mana.
So, I just remembered that I work tomorrow. Fuck.
2:30, be fine.
So, Bruce is like punching the boat, and the like
It's like, fuck you guys.
he breaks it enough. That the ship is now taking on water. So
Ooh.
now this is man versus nature versus time kind of story.
Versus
Fuck
water.
yeah.
Because the ship is slowly sinking
Mhm.
into the waters where Bruce is anxiously awaiting them
Yeah.
to just
This is
smart.
like
Slip into
night
the water.
or is this early morning?
this is
takes
night
place at
going
night.
into morning.
Night.
But at this point, when Bruce like smacks the hull, it's like little leaks, you know, like they're like
Yeah.
starting to take on water.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we'll deal with that in a minute. But
Let's
You
just
know,
finish
Look at
our
some
song.
duct tape on there.
Can I
you brought
just-
duct tape, right? I was like,
I just
no, what?
What am I, red green?
love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I love this movie so
We're so close to the
I
end.
didn't have the wherewithal before I was drunk to realize that it slowly becomes man versus nature, and then with Bruce breaking the boat, it becomes man versus nature versus time. Time and nature are two things
Get
that
there.
like don't give a fuck about humans.
Yeah.
And that's how
That's
you
right.
get like velocity.
Yeah, well,
Where do you find the area
that
of
is the
that?
equation. That's what Newton came up with when the apple hit him on the head.
So
So it's
then-
like sharks, boats,
Richard Dreyfuss.
time. That's where the apple came from.
Yep.
That's
So-
how fast it went.
So now they're racing against time, and it's the next day.
Mm.
And Hooper and Quint are both working on the boat to try and like save it from sinking, and they really can't. So they're like, let's focus on the shark. We'll just hit it with more plastic fucking barrels. Whatever, man. Just more plastic barrels, man. I don't know, man.
I don't give a shit about the shark
I don't
anymore.
give a shit about this fucking shark anymore. So they're like hitting it, and the shark is starting to like surface now. Like this is when you really see the monster.
Mhm.
Really see the monster.
He's
'Cause
real
he, like,
pissed at this
he
point.
breaches the water and comes up, and he almost bites fucking like either Brody or Hooper's
It was
arm
Brody.
fucking off. He, like-
He's like throwing chum into the water. To,
yes,
like,
to
get him
attract it.
to attract, and he like
Yeah.
comes out. And
Yeah.
this is the famous part
Yeah.
where like
Yes.
Brody,
Yes.
he has a cigarette in his mouth. He's like throwing chum. He's like, "You come back here and do this shit if you'd like."
Yeah.
And then he sees
And
the
then the
shark.
shark
He's
like breaches, and he's
he,
like,
like-
"Oh my god!"
He like walks back,
and he like saunters back into the hull of the ship.
He's like, "You're gonna need a bigger boat."
Yeah, he looks at Quint, and he's like, "You're gonna need a bigger boat."
Roaring applause.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't know know that was a line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
said
that's
it.
where the bigger
He
boat
said
comes
it.
from.
I get it.
Mhm.
I just
Wow.
finished. I just drank an entire boat's
Oh,
worth
yeah,
of alcohol,
she
by
did.
the way.
She downed that bigger boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's gonna be fun when I have to figure out how to get home tonight.
um
we might be Ubering from Will's place to back home.
Oh, that's gonna be like 1 cent in 70s. No.
My grandfather could afford this trip. So they need a bigger boat. They need a bigger boat, and
need a bigger boat.
they're
Well,
really-
they need a different boat in general. This one's sinking.
this one is in fact
Yes,
sinking.
thank
They need
you.
a new boat.
So
Thank
I don't
you.
remember all
Any
the
boat.
details, but maybe you can jump in. But long story
Great,
short,
I don't.
okay, Hooper has determined that the barrel plan is not working. They're
Mhm.
like, fuck this stupid barrel plan.
Oh,
It's
oh,
not
oh, 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 I remember.
working." Oh my god.
Hooper is like, I just so happened to have brought enough cc's of nitrogen or like something.
I don't know.
All right.
Some sort of like scientific
Nitro,
chemical.
nitro.
Yeah.
Nitro. Yeah, that's literally it. He's like, I just so happen to have like 70 cc's of nitro.
Just so happened.
Yeah.
enough
You
to
know
like
what?
enough to float a fucking shark.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also brought my shark cage with me. So if you lower me into the
Why didn't they
cage,
use the shark cage in the beginning?
Immediately, right?
Like, I have a shark cage.
because they
I
thought
did
the
tell you.
barrels would work, Will. They thought that the barrels would work,
They're like,
William.
we have this specially designed thing to catch sharks, or we have these
No,
barrels.
It's the
Guys.
cage. It's the cage that people go in
People
and then
go
go
in.
under.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
true.
it's like very, very precarious.
So Hooper is like, just lower me into the thing, and if I can get him with his mouth open, I can like stick him with the nitro. Done. We got our Sharky boy.
So they're like, okay, so if we're just gonna say they're gonna nuke the shark.
Pretty
They're
much.
gonna do the shark.
Yeah.
They're gonna fat boy slim that shark
Yeah,
if they can do
yeah.
it.
Yes, literally, yes. So
There's actually one small
okay,
detail
okay, go
that
baby,
we
go baby,
need.
go.
So during all the third act, one on the boat, there's a point where Brody or Hooper or someone like bumps into a bunch of canisters
Mm.
and they fall over. And Quint is like, "Don't fuck with
Hooper,
those canisters."
Hooper.
Hooper is like, "Don't fuck with those canisters; they're gonna explode." That's important.
If you,
Okay.
yeah, they were like, if you pop this canister of like nitro of like oxygen, whole thing goes up in smoke.
Bad time.
So Hooper got a tank of oxygen on, so that he's gonna go diving
Stab the
to
shit out of
try
that shark.
stab the shark with the nitro. Goes into the cage. He's terrified out of his fucking mind. He tries to
like
like
anyone would be.
his like scuba diving mask is a little musty from being kept in storage. And he tries to like wet it up with some spit, and he's like, I don't have any spit. I'm too scared. And he like dunks it in the water a little bit. They
I've
eventually
had that problem.
I've never looked at you imagine.
Anyways, so they get him into the cage, and there's a couple of seconds of silence, which is again really fun. And he looks around. And he's like, "Where's the shark?" And he sees it like from far away, and the Jaws theme starts up again.
No, it's
Bottom.
different. I don't think that's the right. with
It's a couple
everybody
octaves higher. It's like bottom, bottom, bottom.
Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.
No, it's like Seinfeld theme. It's like bottom.
Yeah,
Ow, but, ooh.
that is not. There's a
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. That would be amazing if like the shark's getting closer and it's like
But then-
Shark comes in like George, like, what are you doing, Barry? Jared!
Kramer's like, Jerry, hi. Need to borrow your Shark Tank.
Could you imagine Kramer, George, and Jerry hunting the shark? I keep telling you, the plastic barrels are gonna work.
Anyways,
Jerry,
so
they're not working, Jerry. We gotta get in the cage.
Hooper's in the cage. He sees the shark disappears, and Hooper is like, okay.
Sure.
And then boom,
Mm.
the shark like bangs into the cage, and he like busts it open just enough to get his jaws in there.
Ooh, his
Name of-
Jaws.
Name of the movie.
Mhm.
Name of the movie.
Roll credits.
If there was enough drink left over, I would have to take a drink. But I drank the whole thing. There's no drink left. I
Wait,
can't
so
drink
none of the
it.
character goes like, his jaws are in there.
Deadpans the camera.
Just spikes the
Yeah.
camera super hard. It's
But he-
Jaws.
But he tries to eat Hooper, and he busts open the cage, and he busts open the cage again. He busts open the cage a little bit more, and Hooper's just like dodging.
Yeah, Hooper
He's
goes
dodging
crazy.
him. And he manages to like slink away, and he like falls away, and he like hides behind some like coral reef or something like that. And the shark is just like, I'm gonna fucking fuck up this fucking shark tank. You fuckers think you can fuck with me.
Bruce wanted to eat Hooper's pooper.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's just
Thank you for
angry.
laughing at that. I didn't think it was gonna be funny.
He's like angry fucking the cage at this moment. He's like, and I'll just fuck it up just to show those white motherfuckers who's boss.
Hooper's gone at this point. Hooper has like escaped. He like snuck out.
Oh,
yeah.
And like because he's wearing the oxygen,
He, like,
goes chill
yeeted
by some
out
coral
of the
reef.
cage.
He's like fuck that shit.
Play some
like-
Angry
They can deal with
Birds.
that Play some Gardenscapes, you know. Like,
He like
solve a puzzle or
yo,
two.
shout out to Gardenscapes.
Yeah, it's like Sam's favorite video
This
game.
podcast is supported by Gardenscapes.
Go for my spots.
We'll reach out.
So,
We'll reach out.
Thank you. So Hooper makes it out. Regardless, Hooper is like alive. He's just hiding
He goes-
in and amongst some coral
He
and
hides
some
for the rest of the movie.
shipwreck
He's
and
essentially
some
gone.
blah blah blah.
All right.
But Quint and Brody pull up the cage and they're like, "That's enough. He's had enough. He's probably had enough." And pull it up. Like Hooper's gone.
Oh fuck!
And they're like, "Oh my god, the shark got Hooper. Oh
Damn it!
fuck.
And that
Oh
gives
fuck."
them just the emotional edge to be like,
Yes.
fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Literally could not have said it better myself, Will. Like they're like, "We gotta get this
We're gonna get this
fucking
fucker.
shark." So they're like trying things to try and get the shark. Excuse me. The shark. The shark at this point is pissed.
He wanted to eat. He was real hungry. And he
He's
wanted,
like,
he
I
wanted to eat some
swear
Hooper.
to God, I could have eaten 5 kids in the time it's taken me to hunt you adult men down.
Well, he
I'm
just
so
wasn't feeling
tired.
veal at that moment. He just-
Exactly.
I'm so
He's like,
tired.
He wants the
Angus
filet
steak,
mignon, yeah, and I got thick
Mignon.
Angus.
I swear to God. So the shark just like swan dives onto the boat,
Mhm.
which means that the boat takes on even more water,
Yeah.
and the boat is officially broken.
Mhm.
Like it's
Like it breaks in
Dunzo.
half, like legit, like
It is-
Titanic style, like
It
like
is-
breaks in half, like an egg.
it is Dunzo
and then, like,
Bunzo.
Quinn
Like,
falls and then hits one of the pipes.
shut up, Will! Stop guessing the movie. Stop guessing the movie.
Sam, darling.
I'm sorry.
No, I was referencing Titanic, which Olenka hasn't seen. Stay tuned.
I didn't know it's
So
split in half.
Also I gotta say, you're not missing anything by missing Titanic. Like, it's gonna be a great episode. You're not missing anything. It's not that great.
I don't even know what happens.
Sam, that's Will's favorite movie. You can't just say that in front of me.
I'm not sorry.
Oh, really?
I'm
Okay,
not
actually.
No,
sorry.
it's not. But it's great.
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. So,
So-
anyways, the shark is just like, I'm gonna fucking break your boat. Breaks the boat. And like the boys are just resorting to like last minute resorts. They're like, I'll shoot it with a pistol.
Throwing shoes at
Brody
him.
just like has a pistol, and he's like, pfft.
He's got a flip flop.
He's like, I guess this is
Is it
fine.
like sideways shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He like turns it to the side.
Holding upside down. Like,
Yeah.
It's more powerful that way.
Yeah. So it's not working. And then the shark like gets onto the boat, and he like gets onto the the poop deck of the boat,
yeah.
and like
Which,
tips
by
it
the
over.
way,
and
is what part of the boat?
I thought
it's
was
like
the back
it's just
of the
like
boat.
the flat
Well, that
part.
would make sense. wouldn't
Right,
it?
right.
Well,
I
the
mean,
back of the
it's
boat
where the poop
definitely
goes.
makes sense, but
Yeah, because poop
because
Yeah.
poop is from
poop
the butt.
deck. Yeah.
So
So he's on like
is
the
a different part of
the shark
boat.
is on the rear end of the boat,
I
and
don't
the
know
shark
about you,
is
but
just
my
like.
butt's on the front. So.
That's my butt's on the front.
Yeah,
You
front
have to
butt.
lay down on some
And
toilets.
like full disclosure, this is like my last. Shut up!
We're so close to the
But
end of the movie.
but that's how sharks poop, though, right? From the front. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just throw it up.
Huh. So if you would just let me get to this
We're
part.
almost there.
Please continue.
This is the part that they make Funko Pops about. So
Sorry, what?
It's true.
so behind the scenes footage, behind the scenes knowledge. So Steven Spielberg enlisted an engineer to build this mechanical shark for him. And he walks into the warehouse one day and he's like, the shark is finished. And Steven's like, oh, great, man. Like, it looks so great. It looks so great. It looks so great. How does it work in the water? And the guy like looks, and in his mind, he's like, fuck, I didn't put it in the water. But Steven Spielberg is like, does it work in the water? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. yeah, it works in the
works.
water. They lost like
It's just $100,000 worth of electronics
Jaws-
in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Jaws Jaws was a nightmare for Steven Spielberg
I-
to shoot because like he lost probably over 50 days of shooting
Yeah, just trying
Because-
to get the rigs to work.
because like he would get to set and they'd be like the shark isn't working and then they'd be like okay well that's a wrap on today.
Mhm.
Like
God.
I fuck it. So this shark finally gets up onto the orca and like his jaws
Yeah,
his jaw
We're
is
back
just
to
like
the movie now. The fun
it's
fact
just
is
like
over.
his jaw is just like
Yeah, I know that scene.
No,
so-
literally,
like it's
it's
just like it's doing
Yeah.
this. It's
Yeah.
doing
If
like the
we're- if
chitty
this is
chatter.
the boat in the movie, it's like in the water and
Yeah.
the shark is up on the boat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally.
So
Sick
Brody is like, oh fuck, and like
Yeah.
gets up on like the higher part, but Quint ain't so lucky. Quint slides down and he's
No
sliding
way.
towards the shark and
Yep.
he's kicking the shark's nose.
Yeah.
And he's throwing shit
He's
at
trying
it.
to like keep its jaws open with jaws. He's trying to
With
keep his
his
jaws open with his
leg?
legs. He's like holding it open
Okay,
with
guy.
his legs.
Yeah, right.
But
But then
then-
like his strength gives out.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And
So
So he broke
he
his
he
leg?
slides into the shark's jaws
No.
and Bruce bites into his legs.
yes.
And then he
Yeah.
bites into his lower torso.
And blood like
And then he bites
comes
into
out of
his
mouth.
main torso and the blood like spurts out of his mouth.
So
And he's like, ah,
But then the shark recedes with Quint under the water.
yeah, he pulls
Quint is
Quint
dead.
under the water.
I survived
He,
sharks
like-
in Hiroshima for
he,
this
like-
shit.
he like drags the rest of his torso under
This
the
is how I
water.
wanted to die.
He's like, I literally survived the USS Indianapolis, and now I'm getting eaten by a fucking shark.
And he gets
In
eaten.
bumfuck beach nowhere.
Exactly.
It's like record scratch.
Not
It's
even a
like
real town.
that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here.
So Quint is dead. Quint dies.
Quint is finito.
Mhm.
Fuck, I didn't
It
see
is
that.
literally just Chief Brody, the man who is afraid of the water
So
by himself
and he's
on
on-
a boat.
he's
The
on-
boat is sinking.
like if you can imagine, like
It
we'll
is
pick up
in
the boat
the
again.
progress
Like, this
to-
half of the boat is now gone and in the water, and the other half is up like this, sinking slowly.
No.
So he's in the compartment.
He's like,
with,
I gotta do
I'm
something.
so
like-
glad I got this dollar store gravy.
it's proven to be
Yeah,
really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's in the compartment where there's like couches and like where they were singing earlier, right? And he's like,
Sure.
they're like up to his waist in
He's
water.
like, what am I
He's
gonna
trying-
do? What am I gonna do? What am I
He's
gonna do?
wading through it. The shark comes and busts the window, and he's like, "Oh Jesus!" But then he notices one of the canisters, the exploding
Oh,
canisters.
Shit, boy.
So he picks it up and shoves it in the shark's mouth.
Oh.
But then
And the shark
Bruce
takes it.
It's like and he like backs off and
Yeah.
like goes away. So then the boat is sinking.
Reminder: the shark. This is also the funny thing about how Jaws isn't really a horror movie anymore,
This-
like
this is the
past
action part. This is the action
1975,
part.
because the shark is fucking broken.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
like Brody like throws the nitrogen tank into the shark's
It- it
mouth, and
gets
the shark
lodged,
is just
like,
like,
right here.
Shark's just like, that's not my vape.
like a child eating broccoli. He's just like, keep this away from my tongue. This is disgusting.
So-
Ah.
The shark backs out with the canister, and the boat is sinking. And now all that's left is like the antennae, like on top of the boat. And Brody's like climbing on top, but he managed to grab one of Quint's rifles.
Yep.
So now he can. The barrels are still attached to the shark at this point, so you can
Yeah.
still see him floating around. And Jaws is making a beeline towards Brody. Brody at this point, and he says my favorite line in the movie.
Yeah.
He goes, "Smile, you son of a bitch," and shoots him, and Jaws explodes. Shark is dead.
And it's
Fucking-
like this great shot. There's like you can't see pieces of shark really. It's just like pieces of boat, maybe a fin,
Mm-hmm.
blood everywhere.
Wait,
Wild.
and then Richie's just down in the coral.
Yeah.
Yes, still,
Like-
he's still hiding out throughout all of this, watching this all go down,
Just
watching
waiting.
this all go down, just like doggy paddling,
did it!
just
No,
like
literally, like Brody's in the water. He's like, "Oh my god, I killed him. He's dead." And Hooper's like, "Bloop." He just shows up like, "Hey."
Did we do it? Did we do it?
Did we kill
Okay,
him?
great. Okay, let's go.
They grab some floaty boat parts that are still
Yeah.
there, and they
Floaty.
paddle their way
Start
back,
paddling.
and they paddle into the horizon.
Wait, so this is like Titanic.
a little bit, yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
Except Jack.
Oh my
lives.
god.
Excuse me.
Oh my
Whoa,
god. But
guy.
like they
You
finish.
know what?
Wait,
Jack is not a
wait.
real character. Don't worry about it.
They end with like the best ending
Oh,
lines.
she died. Whatever.
You'll get it. You'll get it. You'll
Sis.
see it. You'll see it.
Sis.
You'll see it. You'll get there.
They finish the movie with the best lines. So Hooper paddling away on the driftwood along with Chief Brody looks at Brody and goes, "Thought you were afraid of the." Oh no.
Don't fuck this up.
No.
Yeah, you
So
just said-
Brody looks to Hooper and he's like, "I used to be afraid of the water." And then Hooper looks at Brody and goes, "Can't imagine why." And they paddle away.
Credits
And the
roll.
movie, the credits roll, and like just you can see this like tiny little speck. It's like a shot of the shore of the beach, and you can see these tiny little specks just like paddling to water No one's there. Like, no celebratory welcome. They're just
Mhm.
like paddling to the shore,
But they did it.
and you just see Chief
Our
Brody
boys did it. They
and
killed
Hooper.
that shark.
Mm.
Quint
Paddling
may
on some
have
driftwood.
died. The orca is at the bottom of the ocean now.
You forgot the best part though, which is right before Chief Brody shoots Jaws in the mouth with the rifle in the nitrogen tank. You can see like Quint this whole time has like a bandana tied around his forehead, and when the shark eats him and comes back up to try and eat Brody, you
The
can see the
shark's wearing the
bandana in the
bandana.
teeth.
Mm.
Oh.
The shark's wearing the bandana. Thank you so much for saying that.
He's like a sick dude, right?
He's like,
It's like, this is my new look, guys.
I needed to look more. You know, there are so many stereotypes about sharks and their teeth. I just want to break it, so I just put on this bandana. No, the bandana is like hanging out in his
Yeah,
teeth because
needs a
he's just
toothpick.
eating Brody.
Yeah.
The bandana's
got
hanging in his
spinach.
teeth, all disgusting. Yeah,
Yeah.
like spinach, but humans.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Human
there's like
spinach.
there's like pieces of
Gross,
there's pieces of
gross,
Quint,
gross,
pieces of
gross,
head.
gross.
Sorry, I'll stop.
But
I just got really into it, but yes, that is how Jaws
Ends.
ends.
I mean,
Fuck.
That is the end
really,
of
it should
Jaws.
end with Brody being like looking at Hooper, going, "Where the fuck were
yeah,
you, bro?"
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah. Can't help but notice you're MIA for all this shit. Where the fuck
Yeah.
were you?
Yeah.
You're probably gonna go
No,
on,
like
write a novel.
after Brody blows up the shark, like Hooper pops up and he's like, "Oh my god, Quint!" And then Brody just goes, "No, no."
And then he goes, "Well, no one cared about him."
Yeah, fuck, no one liked
Kind
that
of,
guy.
kind of,
He's got a
like-
shitty boat.
Like Hooper just kind of goes, "Well," and then they start paddling towards the shore.
Something that's kind of crazy to me, and like I guess like the final thought is like Jaws dies, gets exploded, and there's blood everywhere in this ocean. What's
Yes.
stopping other sharks
Right.
from coming
From
in?
smelling the blood
And
and coming for it.
frenzying.
Yeah,
Good point.
Yeah,
on these two people?
because
You know
as
what I mean?
proven by the tiger shark in like the early part of the film,
And
there
the
are
USS
other sharks
yeah.
in this ocean,
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
this area.
Yeah.
So like other sharks could potentially smell the blood
would've.
and just fucking eat
Maybe
them
they're like,
alive.
that Jaws guy was a fucking asshole. I'm
They
glad
gotta,
he's
you know
dead.
what?
You
They
know
gotta,
what?
they gotta set up Jaws too, though.
Yeah.
So-
You're right. You're right.
Did you know that there are 4 Jaws movies?
I thought there was 3.
There's
There's
four.
four.
There is four.
There's
So the
four.
first one is regarded as one of the best films ever made, and every movie after that is considered one of the worst films ever made.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Why haven't they like remade this movie?
You know,
Like,
you
why
know.
isn't a movie that they
Yeah.
made a
It's funny. It's funny.
remake?
It's funny that you mentioned because like Steven Spielberg actually did consider making a Jaws sequel. He considered like getting on.
I mean, there's 4
So
of
for
them.
context, for
So
context,
confused.
Steven Spielberg has nothing to do with Jaws 2 through 4. He has nothing to do with
Mhm.
any of them. But like after the success of the first Jaws, like Paramount was like, "Would you consider doing a sequel?" And he was like, "Yeah, if this, and this happens." I don't remember specifically what happens. I highly, highly, highly recommend Wondery's Inside Jaws series if you want to know more about
another
Jaws.
great podcast.
If you want to learn about, if you want to listen to a great podcast from
Once you
someone who's
finish this
sober
podcast.
talking about Jaws, like listen to that, and it explains why, like Steven Spielberg's like parameters for a Jaws sequel. But basically, like Steven Spielberg was like, this, and this would have to happen in order for me to sign on to a Jaws sequel, and the studio was like, no,
Hmm.
no. And then he was like, okay, well, I'm out. And they were like, okay, we're gonna do this anyways. And he was like, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck. And it didn't work out.
GFL.
But yeah, so now do you guys have a thorough understanding of Jaws?
Oh, I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Do you want to see Jaws now? After
I do, and actually, my dad really wants me to see this movie too. Oddly enough, I didn't think it was going to be as bloody. I
Mhm.
don't know
Mhm.
why.
it's pretty bloody.
It gets
It's-
pretty bad.
It's,
They do a pretty
it's,
good-
It's spread
pretty good
out,
job.
but when it's there,
Mhm.
and it's in the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Much like the shark,
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least-
Another really, really, really cool thing. So Steven Spielberg is in this club of like a bunch of like great directors who existed all at the same time, like Martin Scorsese and George Lucas and fucking whoever directed
George
Easy
Lucas a
Rider. I
director?
forget his name. Yes, babe. George Lucas is a director.
Is
So yes, but Star Wars.
I don't think he directed Star
Yeah, he
Wars.
Yes!
Did he direct Star
Yes,
Wars?
yes.
Spielberg produced Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Lord
It's his
Lucas
brainchild,
directed
and
it.
he
I thought he
directed
created
Star Wars.
I thought he was like the head writer.
Yes, he directed the first
he directed
trilogy.
it.
Okay, well, I stand corrected.
So, so they're all like friends, and they were all like prolific directors of their time. And famously, Spielberg brought in Lucas to see like Bruce, like the model before they took it out to the water and realized what a piece of shit it really was. And he was like, this is so amazing. And then like George Lucas was like, oh my God, I'm going to stick my head inside of its mouth. Will you take a picture of me with the head inside of its mouth? And he was like, sure, I'll maneuver it so that the jaws go down on your head. And he's like, cool, great, perfect. Jaws go down on Steven Spielberg's head. His head is effectively stuck inside of the jaws of Bruce. And they take the picture and he's like, great, now get me out of here. And Steven Spielberg was like, I can't.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't.
Sorry,
It's
George.
it won't open. And he's like, very funny. And he's like, no, seriously, I can't open the jaws of this thing. Like, get me out of here. So like his head was like stuck inside of like Bruce's jaws.
He could
for
have
a
very
second.
seriously injured himself.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That could have
And
actually
then-
killed him.
And then
I'm
it's also
sure.
really cool. So the reason, you know the term blockbuster when a movie is like a blockbuster.
I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
So
That's a video rental store, okay? Like, I'll have you know.
That's all I know.
So the term blockbuster was actually created when Jaws came out, because Jaws came out in the
Oh,
summer
cool.
of 1975, and like literally people lined up around the block. 75, but very close.
Summer of 75.
Me getting some gas from school. Saw Jaws and we cried real hard. It was scary.
Michael almost got eaten.
Freaking brought to tears.
But yeah, so like people literally lined up around the
Holy
block
shit
to see
cakes.
Jaws like for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and that's where we have the term blockbuster from.
Gotcha.
And the only movie that wound up beating Jaws out of the blockbuster like name was the first Star Wars movie.
Oh, there you go.
So like when
It's all
when
little
Star
club
Wars
of rich
when Star Wars were
guys.
successful,
Rich
Steven Spielberg
bitches.
took out a page in like the New York Times or some newspaper, and
Some
it was,
newspaper.
he
I don't
drew a
fucking
picture of R2D2 like fishing in the water, and below the water you can see like Jaws like chomping onto the bait, and it's like congratulations,
know.
Lucas,
Aw,
and like
nice.
yeah, he was like congratulations on taking my spot, and like
That's
Really,
like when
he
the
was like,
Warriors put out
"Fuck
the ad,
you."
like, congrats to the Raptors.
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's
Exact-
like that. It's
Very
like
cool.
that. It's happy endings all around. But yeah, that's Jaws.
Wow.
Go
I
see
love
Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah.
I highly recommend you
No
go watch
kidding.
Jaws
Mm.
after this. Like I'm super fucking
Tonight.
drunk, but like it's a
Nice.
it's a movie that's actually really close to my heart, and like you should go watch it if you want to. No pressure. Like do whatever you want.
No
but
pressure,
like
but watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
Watch the
Like,
movie.
you would not waste your time.
I
if you
will
watch
check
it.
up on whether or not you've seen
oh,
Jaws.
I will be watching.
Well,
Yeah.
it.
how many stars do you give this one?
Ooh, baby. 7.
Teen?
Shark fin soups.
Oh,
Shark fin
buddy.
soups.
Oh, buddy.
7 shark fin soups out of 7.
Stab me in the
all
heart.
right. I'll take
Stab me
that.
in the
I've heard
heart.
shark fin
It's
soup is
like-
delicious.
We
It's-
passed. You know,
It
that's like a 65.
Inhumane.
is-
I'll take
and
it.
and $1,070 dollars.
Which is like 4 million in
Fucking
today's
millions,
dollars,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
gotta be.
yes.
Oh.
William, what about your rating?
My ra- yes, 'cause I've never
you've
seen
never
this.
seen it either.
I think that explanation, I'm gonna say it is gonna be 4 tank canisters
nice.
out of 3.5 tank
Oh,
canisters.
shit.
Wow, thank you so
110%.
much.
I had a good time. I had a good
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Awesome.
I'm so
Thank you.
drunk and I can't count right now, but I'm gonna take that as an honor. So
Well,
thank you,
Sam,
Will.
I'll speak
No,
for
wait,
the
like scratch that. 4 dead kids.
Out of 3.5 dead kids, literally because Bruce like bit them in half.
Literally.
like bit them in half.
If
Yeah.
you're listening right now and you love the voices of our 2 kick-ass guests, you can follow them at ChillSpot.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's a little confusing. Our big the easiest place to find us would be ChillSpot on YouTube.
Yes.
www.youtube.com/chillspot.
Yes.
However, you can also find us at chill.spot,
Underscore.
a single underscore on Instagram, because this is tough to find this domain.
Yeah.
And then at chill.spot 2 underscores for Twitter.
Ooh, double underscore.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
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 So you can follow us on Twitter.
Okay, Twitter's
Yeah.
got 2 T's. ChillSpot got 2 underscores and a
Exactly.
dot.
Nice.
Okay.
Follow us for
Nice,
shit
nice,
posts,
nice.
let's plays, podcasts.
Yeah.
You can follow us at Haven't Seen a Podcast on Instagram and Big Cake Comedy everywhere else.
Yeah.
And on that note, folks, thanks for diving in with us for the Jaws episode. We will see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.